Welcome, folks, one and all, to the 2023 Gorgies Awards ceremony. We've got the whole gang here, and we are going to break down these categories, and we are going to talk about what was actually a pretty good year.
Pretty good video game year, yeah.
A great year if you were a video game. Not a very good year if you were someone who made them. But if you were a video game, it was a really good year.
Yeah, that's correct. But hey, we've got the whole gang here. We've got myself. We've got Ben. We've got Saturn. Say hi, Saturn.
Okay, I guess. Hi.
And we've got Oates.
Hi.
There you go. And we're going to do... I feel like we change the rules of this every year. So...
So last year we just did a vote each, and then if we had a tiebreaker, we just gave it to Final Fantasy XIV, but...
That's correct.
We're all familiar with FF14 now. It's lost kind of its luster, its shine, it's not as bright and engaging anymore until 5-6 months from now.
That's right.
Well, the thing is, it's no longer the year of everyone sinking hundreds of hours of their lives into Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know if we actually have one of those this year, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, there was too much other stuff that came out.
Yeah.
So I figure what we can do is we can just vote, and if there's a tie, then we'll fight each other for it.
Okay.
Good. I've been waiting for this.
PvP, the Gorgies, I see.
Yeah, we'll actually legitimately stake our case and then see if we can convince the other. And if we run out of time, then Mario will yell at us.
Here's the thing: if we can't agree. Because I like the idea of having a tiebreaker so that we don't spend 15 minutes fighting about a single specific category or whatever, or having to do shady backroom political deals. If we can't agree to a winner, Pizza Tower wins by default, whether or not it was nominated or makes sense.
You know, I'm okay with that because Pizza Tower got super snubbed at the actual game award.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. I think that is legitimate. I think that's fair. I think Peppino Spaghetti should get every award that we can't decide on.
That's right. You know what? He deserves it.
That poor man.
He's got anxieties, so the least we can do is give him an award. Everybody does, but
God forbid, we all deserve pure skeleton.
We all deserve awards for surviving with our anxieties, and we're gonna live vicariously through Peppino Spaghetti.
If I had an award for my anxiety, I would have so many awards that it would, in fact, increase my anxiety.
You would suddenly have imposter syndrome over your anxiety award.
Yeah, I'd be like, there must be people more anxious than me, and they're going to kill me if they find out. They're going to show up at my house and be like, I heard you lied about how bad your anxiety is, and they're going to kill me with a hammer.
I heard you don't have any fears about Glass Shark, motherfucker.
Hey, so this guy doesn't have any irrational fears, eh? Well, let's give him some!
In this scenario, someone who I don't know has been going around lying about me, telling people that I'm not afraid of Glass Shark because he knows how afraid I am of Glass Shark.
I think we've lost the plot.
Already.
So...
Let's do our first category.
Let's talk categories. Let's do this. I'm gonna take this one because it's my realm.
Yeah.
So first category is an easy one, and it's also weird that we can have this category because it usually doesn't happen like this. But we have best Fate release, which is strange because again, we had 4 separate Fate things that aren't just all in FGO happen in the same year.
Yeah, very few video games can claim that happens ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
And we got 4 different Fate releases this. Granted, one of them is a fan patch, but still.
Also, one of them's technically Tight Moon and not Fate, but like best Fate release is punchier.
Give it a couple of months, and we'll have a character from Mihoyo in Fate Grand Order, and then it'll all come around. Don't worry.
That's true. That's certainly possible, isn't it?
Yeah. We're gonna get a Mihoyo in FGO at Anniversary. Don't worry. So yeah, the nominees were Mihoyo. I think the English name is Wish on the Holy Night, but everybody calls it Mihoyo. Lost Belt 6, obviously, Avalon Lefay. Fate Samurai Remnant, and last minute sneaking in to the point that I didn't even have a chance to play it is the Fate Extra CCC English patch. Finally dropped after like 10 years of people going, we're working on it, and everybody on the internet going, that's never coming out. And then it came out.
I literally have a friend who, like, before I even got into my last relationship, so like 7-8 years ago, right? I was following them talking about like, oh man, I would love to go through Fate CCC, and there's a patch project that's working on it, but you know, who knows when that'll be done. And that's like, hey, by the way, a Christmas surprise, it's finally done.
It's done. You can just play it now. You could now play like by all accounts, one of the hornier things Kanoko Nasu has ever made, which is really saying something.
Mm-hmm. It's got Kara in it.
Play the Fate game that Kanoko Nasu wasn't aware hadn't actually ever been released in English.
I hate his ass so much.
He's like, well, surely it was, right? What? No? Oh, okay. Well...
Are you going to do anything about that one, Nasu? No? Okay, well, you motherfucker.
Well, good luck then. it's like that Tumblr or that screen cap of someone's text where it's like, hey, we need you to come in, we're super busy. Well, now it's my day off, but good luck though.
Yeah. Anyways, my vote goes to Lost Belt 6. I don't even think it's close, even though like I think Fate Samurai Remnant is good. I don't even think it's close, Chief. I think this one is an easy one. I haven't stopped if I didn't know that God would come down from the sky and kill me, I would try to make the argument that Lost Belt 6 is the best game of the year. I would fail, but I have not stopped thinking about Lost Belt 6 since I finished it back in June? Several months ago at this point. It's just that good, folks.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate here.
In a way that
pains me, because I do think that Lost Belt 6 is one of the best things I have, it's one of the best, fantasy RPG VN experiences I've ever had. I am, however, going to give it to Fate Samurai Remnant.
You're insane!
No, you will understand me. Someday you will play that last ending of Fate Samurai Remnant, and you will understand me.
You will regret your words and deeds, Sarah.
Well, let me put it this way, and here's why I'm saying this. Lost Belt 6, is it great? Yeah, it's spectacularly written. There's basically literally the only things about it that you could have any kind of articulable critiques about are things that are just hey, this part didn't get fully fleshed out because they realized midstream that it was kind of stupid to spend so much time focusing on it and sidelined it in favor of writing about things that people actually care about. Right? Oh no, the fly in the ointment or whatever. The thing is, Lost Belt 6 is good throughout and I really enjoy it. Fate Samurai Remnant does the thing that is harder for a video game to do for me, which is that it's good, but then at its true final conclusion twists the knife in such a way as to drive me utterly insane.
Okay.
The puzzle box clicks into shape and you understand what it's all been leading to, and you just wish it could be something else, but also not, because this is really cool, but also, oh god, why?
The puzzle box clicks into place, and then Jigsaw pops in the TV and tells you did a good job for not cutting off your arm. And you get to leave. Yeah,
basically. Though I will offer with the caveat that, if there's a tie, I will cede to Lost Belt 6.
That's right.
But my vote is for Samurai Remnant.
See, the problem here is that the other two members of the podcast don't have a dog in this fight. So
I do have a dog in this fight. I'm going for Fate CCC because Kiara deserves a win.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Ben,
now
you have the onerous task of tie-breaking a category in which you have not played a single release in this before.
I know. The amazing thing here is that we have decided on a rule early on.
Did we?
Yes,
we did.
We just decided on a rule of what happens if there's a tie. And now here's the interestingest thing about this. Is that on this list of 4 items, I have a whopping goose egg of knowledge of all 4 of them. I don't know I don't even know what Mahoyo is.
Ben, you've got to do it for me.
You have to vote for something. You can't just abstain so that Pizza Tower will win.
The problem is Ben could just vote for Mahoyo and then Pizza Tower will win.
And I think the funniest thing in the world.
Up at your house. I literally know where you live, you shit.
And I want you all to think of there's a grand banner and it's a mystery servant. And you throw down all the St. Quartz that you have to get this mystery servant. And you finally get it. And the card fades up. And it is a 5-star berserker named Peppino Spaghetti.
I hate you.
I'm voting for Mahoyo. Peppino wins.
Well, actually, I've been, in the last several minutes, colonized by a tree of fantasy from outer space. And my vote has been retroactively changed to Lost Belt side.
Thank you.
Okay.
It already
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't let Peppino take this one from me.
No, we just started.
I can't let Peppino... I will fight to the death for Samurai Remnant, but as established, in the event of a tie, I will give it to Lost Belt 6 because I understand.
That's right. Lost Belt 6 is good.
Listen.
Sarah, it's not fair. I wasn't even allowed to get that far.
Now, Ben, if it does make you feel any better, my Lost Belt King is in fact Peppino Spaghetti. But he doesn't want all these eyes on him yet, which is why he has graciously permitted me to change my vote to Lost Belt 6.
That's right.
Listen. Peppino's Noble Phantasm gives him an infinite number of guts with a super high counter rate, because if you hurt Peppino too many times, you go to hell.
Oh my god. Well, I'm glad that Lost Belt 6 won it all. I'm mostly out of desperation to keep Pizza Tower from winning.
Much like a Fate story, we did some timeline shenanigans so that justice could be prevailed, even if it's only a phantasmal semblance of justice.
That's
and
right.
What is truly deserved, which is Fate Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a category that Peppino's already in, so we don't have to worry about Pizza Tower breaking the tie. Best OST, and the nominees are Hi-Fi Rush, Pizza Tower,
Fair.
Sea of Stars, and Super Mario RPG.
This one's mean because, Super Mario RPG is an all-timer, but it's existed for a long time, so I feel like it's cheating saying it.
But it's also rearrangements.
Yoko Shimomura rearranged every track personally.
Right, but it's still I know that soundtrack is real fucking good because that stuff's been stuck in my head for a decade or so. But in the same vein, I feel also like it's cheating doing it with Hi-Fi Rush because a lot of it is really good remixes of
I'm giving it to Hi-Fi Rush. That's a video game about music with a bunch of really good ass music in it.
That's
so
true.
I gotta give it to Hi-Fi Rush. The other stuff is good, but Hi-Fi Rush has a 9 Inch Nails song in it.
Listen, it would be unfair of me to not pretend that the final level of Hi-Fi Rush, where you're climbing the tower, didn't just fucking kick my ass when that music started up.
Yeah.
I have to give it to Hi-Fi Rush.
Same here.
Okay, that's fair.
Because, it's just good. The only reason Frankly, though, I will say I maybe should have added it, but it's fine. There's only 4 things in it. If Alan Wake 2 had been on here, I would have voted for that. But I still think it should be Hi-Fi Rush because Hi-Fi Rush is extremely good soundtrack as well.
I don't have a dog in this race, really. I haven't actually played any of these. So I'm gonna say Super Mario RPG because I've heard a lot of those remixes and they're really banger.
They are absolute bangers. There's no doubt about it. The Mario RPG soundtrack is incredible. It's like it still was and it still is one of the best OSTs of all time. Like no doubt about it.
Right.
But Hi-Fi Rush is just it's a game. You said it's a game about music.
Yeah, it's a game about music, and like all of the music is really good, and like the final boss theme is a Nine Inch Nails song, and just like it's about playing to the beat of the music, and it's just like really fun and catchy the whole time. It's a great game.
It's got Invaders Must Die in it.
I haven't played anything this year that has an industrial soundtrack, so like I just don't really have a whole lot of opinions.
That's fair.
I'm like, I can't nominate the extremely shitty promotional health Vampire Survivors tie-in Rat Wars for their album Rat Wars as much as I would like to, just to say, you know what, I don't have a dog in this race, it doesn't matter. I'm doing a write-in for Health's 2023 album Rat Wars from the Vampire Survivors knockoff Rat Wars.
That's right.
There's some good-ass music in there.
We've already thrown the rules to the wind. So I guess that means Hi-Fi Rush wins it. The Gorgies, folks.
The Gorgies.
The best, worst awards show on the internet. You're welcome.
Unlike certain other podcasts, we're going to get this done in one episode, whether we like it or not.
That's right. None of us want to be here again tomorrow night. God damn it. Okay. I guess next category. Yeah, okay, that means Hi-Fi Rush wins. Yay! I think it's very funny that we have basically the same category twice here, but we're just gonna roll with it because it's funny and because this is the best worst award show on the internet.
We didn't editorialize this list very much.
Oh god, no. Absolutely not. Peanut, why are you making weird noises while I'm recording? Thank you. So the next one is Best Open World Experience, and that's Spider-Man 2, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Cyberpunk 2077, Street Fighter 6, funny, and an honorable mention to Fallout 76, a game that we somehow ended up falling back into again.
Actually, it occurred to me, we probably shouldn't have this as an honorable mention, because this is the first year most of us played it.
Yeah, no,
it's this year?
Yeah, it was 2023. It was the very beginning of 2023.
Oh my god, that feels like a billion years ago.
Just like Final Fantasy 14, we started like December 31st. So.
Okay.
It's the first year we played it, so I'm actually going to, for the categories it's in, I'm going to change it to normal because it is by the rest of our things. It deserves the normal qualification, whether we vote for it or not.
That's fair.
Now, yeah, we did put Street Fighter 6 here kind of as a joke, but I do want to point out that it does actually create the atmosphere of a side-scrolling beat-em-up in 3D by the fact that everyone just wants to fight you.
Yeah.
It is basically like if you had a Yakuza game, but instead of being in a single large environment, you were in a bunch of little ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think mostly I put that there because at the time we only had the 3 listings, and I didn't remember we had played Fallout 76, and so I was like, Street Fighter 6. Some of us played that one.
Yeah,
I think it barely counts, but it's I have to throw my hand in for Tears of the Kingdom just because it is cheating a little bit, but doing Breath of the Wild but with 2 extra layers to it is kind of the best thing I could ever ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really do have to give that one to Tears of the Kingdom just because it's 3 giant worlds and the amount of ways you have of navigating it is incredible.
Yeah, like I kind of have to.
I mean, I would give it
like my favorite. It's also like my favorite open world of the like. I played 3 of these this year, so like it's really good. Like we said, it's 3 open world maps, and all 3 of them on their own would be compelling.
Yeah, I would give this award if it was just the depths.
Yeah, exactly. The depths is like the best part of Tears of the Kingdom, just because it's so different compared to the rest of Tears of the Kingdom. Like it's so like completely different in terms of tone and sense of danger, and kind of the way you even interact with the world is so different, but it really encourages you to get smart with the building mechanics in the rest of the game. It kind of becomes like, oh, you really like in the main, like the top side, you don't need to really engage with the building mechanics except for kind of when the game says like, hey, you need to build a glider, right? But like the depths is like, if you don't, navigating this is going to be so much more of a nightmare, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's the reason why my vote is also going to Tears of the Kingdom, just to
that's a
dispel the
unanimous
mystery.
one.
That's a perfect KO there. It was 0-4 and it wasn't close. Because I think, like, aside from it just being, it's like 3 open worlds, part of the thing that the original Breath of the Wild did very well is the idea of, like, yes, it's an open world game, but the act of traversal is itself, like, a tension within the game. So it's not just like, oh, here's this big map you can walk around. It's like, getting around this map is also, like, its own layer of gameplay, right? And for the 3 different open worlds in Tears of the Kingdom, they all have 3 completely different sets of, like, navigation tensions working in them. And it's like, and like Sarah was saying, like, the best one is the depths, where it's just like, this is the most hostile open world I've ever played. You can't see shit, and everything is trying to drain your health. And it is like, I spent most of my time with the game going through and filling that thing out, and like, the sheer satisfaction and like transformation of having lit up every single shrine in the depths, and being able to finally see the entirety of the depths lit up is just like, there's just simply no open world that has accomplished that, period.
No, not at all. Like, that's everything that, like, it's so, they've perfected the idea of it being this massive open world, like truly gigantic. Like, Breath of the Wild was gigantic, and they've added a second Breath of the Wild on the bottom, and then like half of Breath of the Wild on top. And it's packed to the brim with stuff. That's the important thing, is that there is always something cool over that hill.
Yeah. And like the hostility, Saturn brought up the hostility of the depths, that I think is really interesting, because like it's not just dark. It is, you can't turn the brightness of your TV up enough to see where you're going. There is a cone of darkness around you that you can't overcome, which
it's not shading, it's black.
Yeah, it's total blackness. Yeah, it's so hostile, it's so different. It's so much fun to engage with, interact with. And yeah, and then on top of it, there's 2 other maps on top that are also extremely fun and good to try and get around as well. Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah, so anyway, anything else to say about the other nominees at all?
No, because the ones that I do want to talk about, we can talk about in other categories.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'll say real quick is that Fallout 76's open world is, even though I have mixed opinions about Fallout 76, it's probably my favorite Fallout open world, to be perfectly honest. It's like hugely varied, and it's also colossal, and it's got a lot of interesting stuff going on in it.
Yeah, it has it's definitely Bethesda's best map, like hands down.
Oh yeah, easily.
And meanwhile, what I would say comparatively for 2077 is, I wish its world was less open.
Yeah.
So I will say one thing, which is I played Spider-Man 2 and Cyberpunk 2077 back to back, and the complete difference in reaction to finding out that my next quest objective is 1,000 meters away cannot be overstated.
Yeah. Sometimes in Cyberpunk, you take a quest and you see it's 6 kilometers away, and you just go, "Oh, all right,
okay."
And like in Spider-Man 2, it's like, "Oh, that's 15 seconds."
And also,
I'm there.
it's like the funnest, like, traversal in any open world game ever. So,
it's the difference between swinging across rooftops at 1,000 miles an hour and traffic.
Yeah, that's what the motorcycles go for.
I say there's a reason I main motorcycles.
I just think it's funny how much I play Cyberpunk 2077 and am forced to obey street laws.
Yeah.
Sounds like a car-based skill issue.
Yeah, I just play a truck. I just run everyone over.
That's right. Just plow everybody down.
All right.
Let's do our next one then, I guess.
You want to take it, Center?
Yeah, just for a little bit. Best trip down nostalgia lane. Games that remind us of the good old days. Asterix, sparkly noise, whatever. Our nominees this time are Pizza Tower, Sea of Stars, the Resident Evil 4 remake, TMNT Mutant Mayhem, MyHouse.wad, and Super Mario RPG.
My house.
Yeah, I gotta put it in for my house. So, like, my runner-up is the RE4 remake, but I'm gonna also be honest, RE4 remake didn't actually hit the nostalgia for me.
No, God, no.
Like,
I like the
RE4
remake.
Fun, but it felt... Something about it just didn't hit the spot in my brain that made me go like, oh, it's just like playing it when it was on the GameCube.
Right, because it's not. It's completely different. I've this whole year I have said that this is a game that is good but doesn't need to exist. And here at the end of the year, I'm still saying the Resident Evil 4 remake was good but did not need to exist. And I continue to say that. And if we're saying it's the best trip down nostalgia lane, then MyHouse.wad is not just like the best throwback game, but it's also like encapsulating a lot of weird feelings about like the past and nostalgia as a thing, and also the irrepressible weirdness of being at a friend's house late at night when their parents are like home but awake in the next room. You know that weirdness when you have like a sleepover. You're spending the night at a friend's house, and everything is strange and foreign and kind of spooky, and you don't understand it, even though it's like your best friend's house. It's
the ethereal feeling of like trying to recall that, but it's mixed in with like all of the other weird emotions that you have from other things that happened in that house, and you're having a hard time kind of like breaking it down and compartmentalizing all of these different memories. They just keep flooding you all at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's super cool.
It's the feeling of playing a new weird game at your friend's house that you don't know anything about, and the strangeness of it is what spooks you more than anything. Like that's what MyHouse.wad is. It's great.
The other thing that it does for me is the others all like the others are all great at like kind of like going like, oh yeah, I remember playing this game, but none of them encapsulate the feeling that MyHouse.wad does, where like, you know how like for us growing up, we had like pre-internet days, like video game rumors and hearsay about like how to play the video game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something about how nobody really has a proper walkthrough of this video game yet that adds such a like a tantalizing feeling of reminding you of like back before playing video games had easy to navigate and find walkthroughs for how to deal with situations that you get stuck in.
Yep.
It's very funny that you say all of this about MyHouse.wad, because you are describing 100% completely accurately my experience with Super Mario RPG. I had
Just
everything.
spooky.
I had everything you're talking about with Super Mario RPG specifically back in 1996.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Like playing it at a friend's house late at night and not understanding it.
We played that game, and as I'm playing this remake, I could smell my friend's basement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could remember the exact feeling of the stairs to his basement, what they looked like, how they felt to walk down them, sitting on that couch, holding that SNES controller, and hearing that music come out of a CRTV.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I could remember everything. It was that exact ethereal, because we would stay up way too late playing this game, and that ethereal thing of like, I'm not supposed to be here when it's dark out, right?
Right.
When it's this late, I'm not supposed to be out here. And everything about it, the exploration of a weird game in a pre-internet era, that's exactly 100% Super Mario RPG for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Saturn?
My vote, which I think is a reflection of being the younger of the four here, I think at a different time of day, like if it was in the AM, like dark AM, I would say My House, because that game is like, just as far as like quality of experience, it's one of those very liminal shot in the arm games where it's like, sometimes you have a night where you wake up at 3 a.m. at a full start and you just go, I'm not getting back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like My House is like a thing that would be a perfect experience for then, just like focusing on best more so than Trip Down Nostalgia Lane.
Mm-hmm.
For me though, the Trip Down Nostalgia Lane is Pizza Tower. Because I played a lot of Wario Land 4 in grade school and watched a lot of weird, gross out Nickelodeon cartoons. and genuinely, Pizza Tower was the game that experientially made me go like not even hands on, like even just watching it, because I don't actually own Pizza Tower. I spent a lot of time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It is the game that made me most vividly recall like being at a CC's Pizza, right?
Yeah, I feel that.
Or like watching cartoons after school and playing something on my Game Boy Advance. It made me like get really excited about fucking Wario Land knockoffs, which is not something I think I have literally felt once before in my entire life, except for when I was 9 years old.
Hey.
So my vote is for Pizza Tower.
Fun fact: did you know that Wario Land 4 is a video game that is, its bare bones is based off of the system and engine that they used to make Metroid Fusion?
Yes.
That's very funny. I had no idea.
I'm not even surprised to hear that Wario Land 4 is a Metroidvania.
One of those things where once you know and you watch side-by-side footage, you can tell, because stuff like the camera movement is identical.
To me, the thing that sold Pizza Tower as pure nostalgia, they nailed it, is the HUD and everything kind of being weird misshapen letters and numbers, and Peppino's face in the corner that's reacting to everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Just it's Super Nintendo.
It feels like such a fake video game. But like you can play it and it's real. It's a real video game, but it feels like a cartoon version of an SNES game.
Yeah, totally.
It's that perfect 90s representation of like Earthworm Jim and all of the other licensed SNES platformers.
No, it wouldn't be an SNES platformer, but it would be a contemporary with like Math Blasters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a PC 98 fucking platformer that you could play in elementary school. Or
when your grandfather gets you like a bunch of like computer CD-ROM games, it would be Pizza Tower right next to like the Neverhood and like, I don't know, Phantasmagoria or something.
Yeah.
No.
Missed.
Yeah.
Although I will say, just because Saturn brought it up, and this is just really fast, Mutant Mayhem does get an honorable shout out because Saturn brought up like 1990s gross out, like garbage pail kids kind of stuff. And that's just what that movie is.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Mutant Mayhem looks like it would have aired on Nickelodeon in the 90s, and it looks it's right alongside with Classic Scupo designs.
Yeah, it looks like if it had been 2D animated, it would have looked like all real monsters, right?
Yeah.
So, that's just a little thing. But yeah, that movie's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
So yeah, My House That Wad wins.
Yeah.
But this is a category that every single thing on here just brings a smile to my face.
Oh sure.
And
All
just
good.
thinking about just like, oh man, they all got it right. They all nailed it with all of these. And it's funny because like I beat Mario RPG in like 15 hours. And I was putzing, I was taking my time, obviously.
Sure.
But I'm like, I would clear dungeons and fields in like 20 minutes. And I'm like, this took us like a weekend.
Yeah.
96.
Turns out kids suck ass at video games.
And now it wasn't just because, it's actually easy now that I'm not a baby. I've played Mario RPG so many times, I just know where to go.
Sure, and the translation of the remake is just so accurate that it's all 1-to-1. Sure.
Just like I'm looking at, like, I know every single line of dialogue that's coming, like verbatim. I know exactly where to go in all these maps, and I'm just like, oh yeah. I mean, I haven't played Mario RPG in like 25 years, but it's just so drilled into my brain. I could never forget.
How funny would it be if you're like, yeah, I expect every line coming, but then you get to the part where they leave out the comparison to Bruce Lee, and then suddenly you don't know where you are anymore?
it's like if
you're just running off a script.
It's like a tool-assisted speedrun goes wrong, and suddenly you just see the character like bouncing around in one area because everything got misaligned.
It's when the robot in Fate Grand Order fucks up, and suddenly it doesn't know what's going on anymore.
You're like, hey, why is it turn 13? This is supposed to be a 3-turn loop.
Yeah, what did you do? So yeah, it goes to My House. And then, do you want to do the next category?
Sure. So the best sequel to Breath of the Wild. And the nominees are Fallout 76, Hi-Fi Rush, Tales of Berseria, Noita, Lost Belt 6, and the honorable mention goes to Baldur's Gate 3, a game that none of us got around to until January.
I'm noticing that something's missing from this list too.
Yeah, weird.
It's fine. I feel. You know what? We can make Baldur's Gate 3 not an honorable mention because I've played 50 entire minutes of it, which means we're qualified to talk about it. Now, of that 50 minutes, 30 of it was spent in the character creator, and so I played about 20 minutes of the prologue and did not finish it, but I think that's enough to offer a reasonable perspective on Baldur's Gate 3's inclusion in that sequel.
I'm sure that is 100% true, Saturn.
Absolutely.
I feel like I gotta give it to Fallout 76. Because it is a gigantic open world that's built around fucking around and building things.
I think that out of all of them, it grabs the idea of a sequel of Breath of the Wild, which would be like just exploring a beautiful wooded area. But I think for me, it's Tales of Berseria because it's like what I want more than anything else in a sequel is like a very compelling and sad story about, loss and moving on after the world has ended.
Mm-hmm.
My vote's going to go to Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh no, we're about to have a problem, folks.
Because, and here's the thing. I have seen a video of someone is in a hot place, right? Like near like lava or whatever. And unthinkingly, they go into their inventory and pull out a gunpowder barrel. And instantly it ignites and explodes and kills everyone in their party. Now tell me you haven't been to Goron Mountain Hot Zone and pulled out a bomb arrow and just instantly it explodes in your face and sends you tumbling down a cliff to your death.
Saturn has been building up to this joke for months now. I can tell.
I only feel comfortable saying this because of that. If not for the fact that I had played it for all of 50 minutes, I would have actually said Noida instead for very similar reasons, which is Noida is a side-scrolling kind of roguelike dungeon delving game, right? But the idea is that you play as a wizard and cast spells and stuff, but it's set like the game is like a 2D physics simulation. So it's like those dust simulator games, right? That you used to play on like PC and Flash or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I choose that because it is a more true successor to Breath of the Wild's quote-unquote chemistry engine, which is to say all the weird shit stories you will have in that game that are a result of things in the environment having a coded physics interaction that causes chaos that was not accounted for.
Dwarf Fortress, yes.
Well, we have a
Dwarf
problem.
Fortress should have also been on here, but none of us played that either.
That's right. We have a problem that because it means the Pizza Tower is about to win this.
Yeah.
Sarah, are you going to vote for Lost 6? You horrible bitch.
Yeah, because Lost Spell 6 is a sequel to the other part of Breath of the Wild, in that there is a little blonde princess chosen one child, who has been utterly and completely traumatized by being forced to be the little blonde princess chosen one child. And I'm seeing Ben type in Pizza Tower in the winter. It's just all question.
As we were saying this, he was increasing the font size and bolding it.
Yeah, no. So, and plus, it has the same vibes as Breath of the Wild, which is these beautiful pastoral landscapes that just kind of make you really sad when you hear about like how they got to be the way they are. And yeah, that it's about like going to different temples and collecting MacGuffins in order to fight the evil sorcerer/sorceress queen. That's a Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry, that's a Zelda. So,
the fairies want to kiss you, and it's very threatening.
That's right. You don't want the fairies to kiss you,
but also you do.
But you kind of do too.
Big lady.
Big lady.
Your horse has a funny name.
See?
Finch.
Bing bong, bing bong. All of this to say is that Lost Belt 6 is the actual best sequel to Breath of the Wild of the year. Unfortunately, this does mean the Pizza Tower wins the category best sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Now listen, what are the toppins if not Koroks?
Exactly, and you always have to find them.
What is Pizza Head if not a Ganondorf?
You know what?
He is a CDI Ganon, like for real.
Who is the noise if not Tingle?
He's the Noid.
Well, yeah, the Noid is famously also in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Hey, well.
Listen, just like in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Peppino can climb walls.
That's right.
And also, as we've established with other Nintendo characters, Peppino is Italian and thus can do a Shine Spark.
Right.
Yeah.
I like this. We're doing this every year going forward from now on, where we just designate one game to be
to just sabotage each other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which means that we obviously have come to the very logical conclusion that Pizza Tower is the best sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Next category, please.
Next category is Best Starfield. The nominees
are on this list either.
The nominees are Cyberpunk 2077: Phantom Liberty, Armored Core 6: The Fires of Rubicon, No Man's Sky Echoes, Lethal Company, Fallout 76, and Fortnite.
Again, I don't know if you could call it. I mean, you played it this year, Saturn. That's not an honorable mention. That's
true. You know what? Fortnite deserves more.
No, it doesn't.
Fortnite is on there too.
I'm not voting for it, so I am going to get my only argument in favor of Fortnite out of the way because I'm not voting for it. Unlike Starfield, you can actually play as basically anyone. They put Goku in that shit.
They did.
You can't play as Goku in Starfield.
That's true. They should put that should be like a point in every game's favor. You can be Goku in this one.
If you can be Goku in it, that makes it good.
Yeah, so that's all I have to say about Fortnite. It's not what I'm voting for, though.
Okay. What are you voting for?
My vote is going to be for Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon. Yeah, well, I have to make sure it wins at least something in this fucking show. But my argument for it is that it is, this year, the best space action game I have played that supports a diversity of build types, has really interesting characters, and a plot with intrigue and stakes that you care about. Mm-hmm. Which are things that you can't really say about Starfield.
At all.
That's true.
And also, I made Rumble Tumble in it, so it's the game of all time.
And like Starfield, where you can build spaceships, in Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon, you can build your own robot. So
Starfield doesn't have a nominee for Best Zenos in it.
That's right.
I mean, in a similar vein, I'm going for Fallout 76 because it's because it is none of those things. It is a Fallout game. It is a Bethesda game to its core. It is a 7 out of 10, and it doesn't try and do anything else more. However, it is in a bunch of different ways an upgrade from Fallout 4, and in other ways a side grade from Fallout 4, which makes it the ideal Starfield, because that's all you really wanted out of Starfield.
That's entirely true. You know what else 76 has that Starfield doesn't? Characters.
A good map. A nice color grade. Interesting places to be.
Character builds that don't make you want to tear your hair out.
Radio.
Fun weapons.
Like...
less loading screens.
Technically, there's mods for it.
Technically there are mods for it? Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, listen, I also kind of have to give it to Fallout 76. Just on the basis that it is quite literally the game most adjacent to Starfield by being made by most of the same people. But by doing and the problem is that Fallout 76, I ended up liking Fallout 76 so much that it, maybe I shouldn't give it to Fallout 76, because part of what doomed me about Starfield is that
you played 76 and placed a bar for Starfield.
That's right. That's right, because we thought that the lessons of Bethesda Austin would somehow carry over to normal Bethesda, and we were wrong.
And here's the crazy thing, though, is that 76 is not a high bar.
76 is really not a high bar. I don't think 76, it is like a 6, 7 out of 10, but like it's a really fun 6 or 7 out of 10.
You could say it's a 7 to 6 out of 10.
Fucking insane things, right?
Thanks, Ben.
But because it does a bunch of stupid fucking things that make no sense, but like at its core, it's still got something, right? Mm-hmm. It has something. It has a degree of effort, not because like
there's substance in it.
Not because they had a lot of money, but for the opposite reason. Because at this point they don't have a lot of money, but like somebody is still trying to make this game salvageable. Meanwhile, Starfield has all of the money and like 300 people making it, and like it's so boring. Oh my god, we'll talk about it in a minute.
We will, yeah.
And also, Fallout 76 makes, when it does, like obviously it's in a lot of ways a side grade, and in some ways even a downgrade from Fallout 4.
Sure.
But compared to certain things that it does directly, it does in certain instances, like with the use of skill checks and like the way buildcraft works and things like that, does do like iterative improvements over parts of the Fallout 4 formula that you look at and go, yeah, you could port this back into a real Fallout game and it would be better than Fallout 4 probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Starfield very often will do something that Fallout 4 does and do it worse than Fallout 4 for seemingly no reason.
For completely inscrutable reasons. They have just decided to make Starfield worse than Fallout 4, a game that I like a lot but acknowledge is not very good. Mm-hmm. And Starfield is a game that I hate a lot and acknowledge is not very good. I'm giving it to Fallout 76. It's the best Starfield that came out this year. I won't give it to Cyberpunk because that's not really a Bethesda game. That's a Far Cry game.
Yeah.
Right?
My inclusion of it, ironically, was because the original version of Cyberpunk is so much like Starfield.
Sure.
Yeah.
It has the exact same problems as Starfield, but also I willingly played like 60 plus hours of pre 2.0 Cyberpunk. I played 60 plus hours of that game when it was bad. I got like 30 in Starfield and it just made me sick.
I have played approximately like 30 hours of Starfield and 30 hours of Cyberpunk, and I haven't hit Phantom Liberty in Cyberpunk yet. But like the 30 hours I played in Cyberpunk were not miserable. It did not make me feel like I was doing homework, right? Like I put those 30 hours into Starfield going like, I've got to find it. There's got to be a good game in here. And there's not. But I played 30 hours of Cyberpunk, and I'm like, this is a good video game. It scratches the exact same itch as the version of myself who once put 75 hours into Far Cry 4, right? Same video game.
When I am going to give my vote to Cyberpunk 2077. Doesn't really matter because Fallout wins, but like,
sure.
I'm going to give it to Phantom Liberty because Phantom Liberty did something that Starfield could never ever make me do, which is think about a decision.
That's right.
I had to sit. There were several times in Phantom Liberty where I'm like weighing the decision I have to make and whose loyalty it will affect and how it will harm them and what kind of far-reaching consequences my choices might have on these characters. And knowing that there is actual consequences built in for the things that I'm deciding to do.
Yeah.
Like
that's something that Starfield could never do.
Yeah.
I am happy to accept Fallout 76 winning this category, but I need you to know how hard it is not to retroactively change my vote to 2077. So
Pizza Tower can win this one too.
However, I do think at least 76 deserves it, so I'm willing to allow it its dignity.
If you changed your vote to 2077, I would change my vote to 2077 because I refuse to let Pizza Tower win.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Saturn. You cannot take a win away from me.
No.
And then Saturn would change their vote back to 76.
The other things in here obviously are Lethal Company is a game where you're in space and doing space things, so that's fun. And No Man's Sky Echoes is the most recent release in a game that Starfield ripped off very spectacularly and somehow did worse than a team of 9 people 6 years ago.
That's right.
The amount of fixing they did into No Man's Sky is still astronomical, and I love thinking about it. And it is just hilarious. It's like we're like, oh man, a Bethesda made No Man's Sky. I mean, this will probably be really good. Oh.
It's somehow worse than the original No Man's Sky. I don't know how they did it. I played the original No Man's Sky for like 50 hours, and that game sucked ass.
Because when the original No Man's Sky came out, do you know what it had that Starfield doesn't have?
Planetary
In-atmosphere
travel.
flight.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. And a reason to explore planets.
Unbelievable.
All right.
Yeah, this is going to actually be relevant. I'll happily take this one.
This is going to be a steamroll. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll give this one because this is our chance to get it all out. With the you want to take it, Saturn? Go ahead.
Yeah, this one's going to be biggest letdown. It's a tight category, but boy, are there some contenders in here, ladies and gents, and people in between, myself included. We got Starfield. As you might expect from the prior category, we have some very vitriolic opinions about this one, so it's stiff competition. We've also got Limbus Company. We've got Final Fantasy 16, and we've got Pizza Tower not winning Indie Game of the Year at the Keeleys. Who wants to lead off with their vote here?
I do, because I think I'm the only one who played 16.
Oh yeah, you are.
I did not touch that.
Okay. I need to get it out of my system.
Go for it.
This is one of the most boring games I've ever played in my life.
That's really amazing considering we just talked about Starfield, but sure.
Like Starfield's definitely up there. For sure. Like they are in a year that was this powerful. It's a shame I have two games that are just bottom. They are racing to the bottom. 16 is one of the most boring games I've ever played. I don't care about any of the characters. There's nothing appealing about any of them. There's nothing endearing about them. Everyone's design is terrible. It really does feel so much like the Tales of Arise of Final Fantasy. Where it's just, none of these characters have anything going on, and we're focusing so much on stuff that doesn't matter.
Your 16 mainline entries into this decade-spanning franchise, and you have somehow unlearned literally everything that anyone actually cares about your games for.
Did you know that you can't equip inventory to Jill or Torgal or Sid? They don't have levels. They don't have equipment. They don't have skills that you can gain with them. It's just Clive.
Oh no.
So 16, as I learned more and more about it, made me suddenly realize I know who it is. I know who's responsible for killing Moonbrita. And it's the guy who wrote most of Heavensward.
Did you fucking see that Yoshida-san comment about the lead writer for Heavensward or whatever is also the lead writer for 16. You can tell because, Isail and that one 16 character whose name escapes me, Jill, are so similar. You were just like, it's bad when Yoshida-san's like, you can tell this guy wrote it because of how he treats women.
He treats women!
And
no! Oh god, it's so bad.
They do the thing that I hate, which is they keep cutting away to talk about politics.
Right.
And not even interesting politics. It's just old guys discussing like troop formation.
Yeah, it's not even like the Final Fantasy 12 good politics. Like, it's just and the thing is that I didn't play 16, but I've heard you and Shia discuss it at length in the Discord, which is that it's just all of that politics shit is supposed to mean something because ostensibly you would hope that Clive would be connected to the politics shit, but he's not.
It's like I said a while ago during the episode, but I keep thinking of FF7 Remake, and I kept thinking of Kingdom Hearts, right? Where in those games, when it cuts to the group of shady villains who are discussing things in the shadows and saying cryptic bullshit, they're saying it either in response to the hero's actions, or they're setting up what the hero's about to run into.
Right.
And in this, it's not. It's just, we're going to take a break from Clive's wacky adventures with his dog, and we're going to watch 15 minutes of a Game of Thrones episode.
Well, I wanted to mention that too, because it is the thing that really strikes me. Is when you reflect on JRPGs, especially of the late 90s and early aughts, there's a lot of them Tactics Ogre and shit, and the Final Fantasy Tactics games, where if you ask them, but hey, what were your inspirations in writing this? They will name drop A Song of Ice and Fire specifically, because that is a very formative fantasy novel series, and for dealing with very grounded topics and still being a cool fantasy thing.
Yeah.
16 is a game that you can tell is not inspired by A Song of Ice and Fire. It is inspired by the TV show Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which is insanely funny, because guess who worked on Tactics Ogre?
Yoshida.
Yeah, exactly. And it's no, you... It's such a heartbreak to see them very clearly have started developing this at a point when, people still thought the Game of Thrones TV show was, unambiguously good and the cultural touchstone. And then, as it got too late for them to change course, as it was just too late for them to change course, the wool came off of everybody's eyes, the scales were lifted, and everyone go, wait a minute, these guys are hack frauds!
Wait a minute!
It sucks! It's amazing.
I wanna say the exact moment I gave up on 16.
Please.
Yes, please.
So, minor spoiler, there are 2 time skips in 16, okay? You start off as Clive as a teenager, and you do a little bit with him, that's kind of your tutorial stuff, and you do a couple missions with Clive as a teenager. And you time skip to like where he's like a young adult, right? He's in his 20s or whatnot, and that's where like the brunt of like the first and second act like kind of take place. Then there's a 5-year time skip where nothing changes. Nothing has changed. They are exactly where they left off, besides the fact they're at a new main hub.
Amazing.
Nothing is different.
They saw that fucking Final Fantasy 15 did it, and they're like, so I guess people like time skips,
like,
right? No.
Clive and Jill don't get new designs.
Ooh.
They're just the same outfit that they were before.
Oh no!
Why even bother with the time skip? Fuck.
That's the whole point of a time skip, is to give everybody cool, new, grown-up design.
I have no idea. And the funny thing is, I'm looking at Torgal and I'm like, this dog should be dead.
This dog should be dead.
This dog is like 20 years old now.
Yeah, no, it's a big dog. He should be dead at this point.
That one photo I sent you, like, his ass going roo-roo.
And when I saw that, I thought of Repeat in Vesperia.
Yeah.
Where where the whole point of First Strike, which is like the like prologue OVA,
yeah,
is set like half a year before the actual game happens.
Mm-hmm.
And Repeat is a puppy.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, we can't set it that early or else that dog will be dead.
That's correct.
That's right.
Yeah. No, like, I don't understand. Obviously, the game seems to have done well enough.
Mm-hmm.
So God, I hope they don't follow this path, this trend. But like, I don't understand how the same people who made Heavensward, because it's the whole team that made Heavensward.
Yeah.
Made this. And Heavensward is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand how this happened, right?
It's baffling. It's so bizarre.
I guess maybe because, like, Heavensward is also very clearly inspired by Game of Thrones in, like, a very obvious way.
Yeah, but it's still fun to play!
And I think that's partly because it's got the trappings of, like, an MMO stapled onto it, too.
I just think part of it is, like... So, like, I think part of it is also... Heavensward was still, like, a collaborative effort. Because there's multiple different writers who worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
16 just kind of like had a main writer and then some backup writers, so you can kind of tell.
Yeah,
this is one of those problems where like there was not enough oversight.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to get my vote in real quick because I don't know how long we want to spend more on this category.
Sure, yeah.
I'm voting for Limbus Company, which came out in February of this year and is one of the most fun gachas I've ever played. Has great art. Well, had great art is part of the problem, and has fun characters, great writing, yada yada yada. But then the president of that company sided with a misogynist hate mob and unjustly fired one of the 22-year-old female contract artists who is extremely responsible for that game's look, and just sort of told everyone to go fuck themselves about it. And like I've said privately, but I will air again on the podcast because it's true, part of why I call that the biggest letdown, aside from being very disappointed in that company, which I used to be a big fan of, is also because, like, it feels more like my breakup than my actual, like, significant end of a 7-year relationship breakup felt like. Because that was like, we talked about why it wasn't working, and we made the amiable mutual decision to go our separate ways, and we're still friends. And Limbus is like, I had to break up with Limbus because I found out Limbus was a Gamergator, like, very suddenly, and like I'm still seeing her posts on my timeline and all those people she's hanging out with, and I feel like we just never got to resolve that tension at the heart of our relationship. I'm still kind of in love with her, but also she sucks ass and is bad for me.
You overheard Limbus Company just saying slurs regularly, and you're like, this has to stop.
It's also I think it's really funny for Limbus Company that they have a very unique name, and they're not even the biggest game that came out this year with the name L Company.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Starfield.
Oh yeah, we should get out Sis and Sarah's votes for this.
Saturn, unfortunately, just kind of like hit the nail on the head of why, like,
oh no.
I think out of all of them, like, the Limbus Company came out of left field and kind of, like, struck a chord in a way that, like, Saturn just now put best, where, like, it really does kind of feel like one of the messier relationship breakups you could possibly have, which is a lot. Starfield is disappointing in a way where I feel disappointed, and Final Fantasy 16 is a letdown where I feel kind of mad at myself for allowing me to think maybe this could be different. Limbus Company just hurts because I was actually going to try and get into it.
Yeah, it hurt. That shit hurted.
So that's where my vote's going. Limbus Company.
Oh, I think we just lost Sara, actually.
Oh. She did mention that it was getting that there was some wind stuff happening at her Housington.
Never mind, we don't have to wait until tomorrow. We're back.
Is that what you said after my internet blipped out for? It's storming here, folks. So every now and then the internet decides to just be a little quirky, decides to have a little bit of fun with me, and the fear of God in me. Anyways, we're talking about greatest disappointment. It's obvious. I don't even really need to talk about it. I know that Limbus Company got a second vote, so it's going to win. That's fine. Understandable. But I have never been so sad in my life when I had to finally have a come to Jesus moment and realize I just don't even like Starfield. Right?
It was one of those things that, like, it hurt a lot to be like, you and I, Sarah, especially, have said multiple times, it doesn't even have to be good. No. It just has to be as good as Fallout 4.
Yeah, that's all I said the whole time. That's like the whole reason I was able to go to bat for that game, because I knew that the game was going to be kind of weird and janky and broken and fucked up in a lot of ways, and the ways that I assumed the ways that Fallout 4 would be weird and janky and broken and fucked up, right? But that's Fallout 4 is a game that I put 2,500 hours into, and I like a lot, despite it being weird and janky and fucked up. And so, like, God, I just remember playing through Starfield, and I'm so bored every time I pick up that game, and I realized that it felt like homework, and that I did not like that game. I didn't like any aspect of it, because Fallout 4 has charm points, right? It has decent character writing. It has, like, a fun map to explore, right? It has a lot of cool little secret-y shit. Like, it has points of interest. It's still a Bethesda game. You can pick a direction and walk and eventually hit something interesting, right?
There was a point when I was like, where it was like, well, not early on, but like a good chunk of a way through Starfield, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know, I did all this work to upgrade my computer to play this game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm checking because I was nervous, like, well, like, how is it running? Like, you know, is the stuff working like the way it should? And I was doing some checks on it, and I'm like, for comparison, let me just boot up Fallout 4 for a second and see what those readings are, so I have like a baseline to work with. Mm-hmm. And I booted up Fallout 4 for like a minute to kind of like walk around the castle, and I was like, I would so much rather be playing this right now than I would going back to Starfield.
Be playing Fallout 4 at any time over Starfield. I can't express, like, it's so boring. None of its parts work. None of its writing works. It doesn't have interesting characters. It doesn't have good exploration. It doesn't have any of the stuff that, like, support, that, like, props up significantly worse Bethesda games. Like, Skyrim is a bad game, but Skyrim is really fun to run around in, right? And, like, Starfield doesn't have any of that.
The fact that I can't land on New Atlantis anymore without my game crashing is not the worst thing that's happened to me playing Starfield.
Right. Yeah, so it's Starfield. It's just Starfield. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
None of the characters are interesting. None of the builds you can make are good. Leveling up is such a pain in the ass.
I will say at least, like, even though Limbus Company is going to end up taking this award, the only reason that it's Limbus Company for me and not Starfield is because if at the beginning of the year I came from the future and said, there's going to be a biggest letdown category, what games are going to be in it? And I would say, Starfield has a good chance of being in it. Final Fantasy 16 probably could be in it. I would have never in a million years thought Limbus Company was going to be in this list, and that's why it hurts me so bad.
Yeah.
Starfield is only saved by the fact that I never fully convinced myself that it was actually even going to be good, and it just ended up being worse than I expected it was going to be, which is tragic still, but it's still worth celebrating the titanic scale of its failures, even if it doesn't win this award.
yeah.
It's both 16 and Starfield are both nominees from companies that should know better.
Yeah.
It is a testament to what a disappointment Starfield is that it can't even win the biggest disappointment category.
Yeah, that's true.
It sucks that Sarah and I can both point at Fallout fucking 4 and be like, you're not even better than this.
It's not even, like... And it doesn't even do simple things right. They took all the wrong lessons away from Fallout 4, because that's a game that also has, like, mixed reception on Steam and stuff, right? Like, they took all the wrong stuff away from it. They were like, oh, people don't like that Fallout 4 doesn't stop the world around you when you're having a conversation, and people don't like that the conversations aren't had anymore. No, idiot, that's not why people don't like that game. There's so many other reasons. You took all of the wrong lessons away from that video game.
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed. Yeah.
I love how every time we bring it up, we have new things to be complaining about with Starfield. We have to do an episode for Starfield just so we can get it all out of our system, and we're going to call it The Purge instead of The Gorge.
Agreed. No, you know what? Here's the thing, Oates.
Mm-hmm.
Our purges of Detroit and fucking The Quiet Man are two of my favorite episodes of The Gorge we've ever done.
yeah.
Really?
I would love to do a purge of Starfield.
Yeah, I gotta get this. Like, it's just bad. I really can't wrap my head around it. It's the thing I have the hardest time understanding is, how do they not know what makes their own video games good? Right?
They've been making the same damn game for like 20 years.
They do a lot of coke.
If this was a video format, there would be a picture of Todd Howard's face slowly entering in frame. How is it that they don't know what makes their own video games good? Pointing at that guy.
I guess so. It has to be Todd, because I can't understand otherwise who is responsible for this to make, like, this game that they just don't get. They just don't get their own video game. How did this happen? What is going on? Congratulations, the Limbus Company, for being the most disappointed game of 2023. But boy, Starfield is, like, my personal... It's a game I just don't understand. I have listened to hours upon hours upon hours of other people on YouTube talk about it, because I'm trying to figure out what is going on. And the answer is that it's just boring.
It's just dull.
It's just boring. It has nothing. Final Fantasy 16 has fucking spectacle, at least. Limbus Company has fucking good art and is still a good gacha game. It just has a bunch of horrible shit attached to it. Like,
Limbus Company had to invent its own bespoke Gamergate and also hemorrhage 2/3 of its entire Korean player base to stand a chance of unseating Starfield.
Yeah.
exactly.
If not for Limbus Company's blow up, there would just literally not be a contest here. It would obviously be Starfield. Limbus is just the one that makes me hurt more.
And that's it. And, like, I can't understand it. I can't understand it. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't understand, because like both of those games have something, and their disappointing factors just outweigh the stuff that they've got. Starfield has nothing. It has nothing.
Look forward to our 4-hour purge of Starfield.
By the time we're done with that, we'll have all collectively spent more man-hours complaining about things in Starfield that we didn't like than we have actually playing Starfield.
We combined.
Look forward to the Gorge becoming Star Wars YouTubers, but for Starfield.
God, at least then. Next category, please.
I'll take this one. I'll take this one. Best Blorbo.
Oh my God.
The nominees are Brick the Rat from Pizza Tower, Poo Poo from Final Fantasy XIV, Torgal from Final Fantasy XVI, 808 from Hi-Fi Rush, and Tamamo Aria from Fate Samurai Remnant.
I'm squeezing in right now, and I'm squeezing in right now just to say Torgal, because I don't care about any of these other things. I just want to be able to pet the dog.
That's correct.
I will say, despite everything I complain about 16, Torgal's a good boy.
Torgal's a good dog. That's a good dog.
You can in fact send Torgal to engulf himself in flames and tackle bad guys, so that's pretty cool.
I'm going to submit my vote for Tamamo Aria. She's very cute for one. Mm-hmm. She has a giant sword that she is physically incapable of using because she doesn't know how to reach around her back to grab it. She smoked out Snoop Dogg.
Good for her.
She textually, this is like, do you care if I talk about her personal side quest in Samurai Remnant?
No, go for it.
Okay, so her quest is like, she's very much, a gentle Hime kind of character, right? And she has these things she wants you to do, these little favors she wants you to run. One of them is like, okay, she wants you to get a treasured artifact. And so part of it's like, well, she has a big sword on her back, so maybe she likes cool swords. You go to a whole rigmarole of getting the coolest sword you can find, which is like, it's named, it has a legacy, it's made by a real blacksmith. She kind of looks at it and goes, yeah, it's not really what I was thinking of. And you do some investigating and find out that she seemed to approach you after watching your little sister making something in the kitchen through a window. And so you go get her a fancy kitchen knife, and she's very thrilled about that. And then you also have to go get her like a fancy fish as a later quest. And you find out at the end of her quest line, this has all been an elaborate production, so she can learn how to cook, so she can make you a fancy fish carpaccio and then feed it to you, much to your embarrassment. At which the resolution, she goes, good, I've finally seen your pleased face expression. Now I can work on getting horror and pain and fear.
Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's my vote, because I adore her. She's a psychopath, as all Tamamos strive to be.
That's correct. They all have to be exceptionally deranged. Who are these other nominees? I'm looking again. Unfortunately, I've spent the last 2.5 weeks. Wait, who are you voting for, Oates?
Torgal. I want dog.
Torgal. Ben, who are you voting for?
I've got to give it to 808.
He's a little guy.
808 is a good cat, and the good cat also transforms into a good little hoverball.
Mm-hmm.
And you can dress up the good little cat in little outfits.
Mm-hmm. He's a little guy.
He is a great little guy. I still absolutely adore that Peppermint's cat ends up liking Chai more than her.
That's correct.
And yeah, I think 808 is an incredible little creator. Now, if this was Best Scrungle, I'd give it to Brick the Rat. But a Blorbo is not the same thing as a Scrungly.
No.
So it's got to be 808.
Can I add a character at the last minute? Because I forgot
please.
we have this one. I'm voting for Odo from Deep Space Nine.
No, I'm changing my vote.
Yeah, me too.
Odo is literally a Blorbo from my shows.
He is a Blorbo from my shows. He He is a goo man. He sleeps in a bucket. He's a shapeshifter. He's got so many problems. He's kind of a fascist. He's definitely a cop. What else?
He's played by Renee Auberjonois, wearing the most unflattering facial prosthetics you've literally ever seen.
He exclusively wears the color brown. He is in love with all of the wrong people. He sucks in a myriad of ways that I can't go into because Saturn needs to get caught up on DS9.
He looks like a banana that you've left on the windowsill for 3 to 4 weeks.
All right, fine. If you motherfuckers are doing this, I'm changing my vote to best fate release so that Pizza Tower wins.
And we have already crossed.
Litigated that one. I'm sorry.
An hour and a half ago, you swine.
If we can just add whoever we want to anything at any time.
I just forgot this category existed. What do you want from me?
Sara literally didn't finish her champion category until today.
I looked at this list and I acknowledged it, and I saw all the categories in this this list of awards.
So you can't. We have 2 votes for Lost Belt 6. I think if I asked if Oates would change her vote for it to not be Pizza Tower.
That's right. Listen, the point is, I forgot this category existed in a long list of many, many categories. I haven't added anything else to the fucking list, and by God, it's Odo from Deep Space Nine, a show that came out 25 years ago. Congratulations!
I will admit, because for clarity, I did add one thing to these lists in the middle of recording, which is as soon as we started, I went to sequel to Breath of the Wild and added Lost Belt 6.
I noticed you did.
Because I was originally like, well, it might not win Best Fate release, so I have to give it a chance to win something else.
You people are fucking ridiculous.
We're animals, but I'm making a compelling argument that Odo from Deep Space Nine, he's my Blorbo. He's quite literally the Blorbo from my shows. I'm 4 seasons in, and I'm still obsessed with him. So I just think he's neat. I just think he's super neat. Okay?
My thing here is I have more. My thing here is that a Blorbo conjures a specific image to mind, which is a character that is a Zenos.
Right.
Zenos is also textually a Blorbo from my shows, and of these, Odo has the greatest textual similarity to a Blorbo from my shows.
But Odo is not like a Zenos. This is not like a character that I'm in love with. This is a character I'm just fascinated by. I want to
put him in a snow globe and shake it around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Utterly fascinated by this character. One of the more insane, so in all of Star Trek, every Star Trek has a Spock, right? Every Star Trek has a Spock. He's the guy who's very logical and extremely alien and weird, right? And original Star Trek has Spock, and TNG has Data, and I don't know who it is in fucking Voyager because I've never watched
Tuvok.
it. Thank you. The point is, Odo is the Spock of DS9, and he's fucking insane. I'm compelled by him.
I think I'm gonna have a heart attack.
I feel the need to inform you, Sarah. The Spock of Voyager is played by a guy who, in Spaceballs, played the trooper with the giant afro comb out in the desert who just yells, "Hey, shit out here!"
Yeah! Hell yeah! Thank you for that. Anyways, yeah, that's my argument. Congratulations to Odo.
Do you have any other Star Trek characters you want to add, Mike?
I just wanted to sneak in one place again.
I just think he's neat.
I'm Quark. I have to become Quark. I just think he's neat.
I'm gonna throw up.
I know. You gotta live.
Fine, well, you know what? Season 13 came out this year. I'm gonna add Crow T Robot to the list of Blorbos from my shows.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? It doesn't matter.
Oh, sweep. the first nominee to win an Odolian votes.
Odo sweep. Odo mentioned. Odo numero uno. Oh God.
Actually, wait, no, I'm changing my vote for best Blorbo again. I'm sorry.
He already won.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm changing it. I'm changing it anyway, even though Odo still wins. My vote is going to Whirl from More Than Meets the Eye.
Now that's a Blorbo.
Now, Ben, are you willing to back me on this and give the best Blorbo nominee to not any specific character from Pizza Tower, but just the video game Pizza Tower?
You know what? Every single fucking NPC in Pizza Tower is a Blorbo.
Oh God, you guys have.
So I guess Odo wins best Blorbo.
Odo wins best Blorbo.
I told you he's my ideal. He's great. Watch DS9, people. Please watch DS9. It's so good. It's so good.
I will catch up. I promise. I don't know when, but I'll do it.
And I'm smelling toast. I think you guys are gonna kill me.
It's what you're seeing and smelling is how much I love Odo from DS9.
Biggest surprise! Odo winning best Blorbo.
You know, okay, why not? Well, let's just add it real quick. It doesn't matter. I'm adding it. Odo winning best Blorbo.
I didn't think it was going to be an Odo sweep when I was like, I want to add somebody.
I'm probably not going to actually vote for that one, but I feel like I need to come to the bit and give it a chance to be on there.
It needs to be. Oh God!
All right, I can still breathe, so I'll take biggest surprise here. Biggest surprise. We've got Hi-Fi Rush is both announced and then just comes out. The One Piece live action series is actually really good. They're remaking both Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. The Gorge finally broke safety glass and actually played Fallout 76. Midnight Suns is good. Like, really good. Why is it so good? And Odo winning best Blorbo. I'm going to get mine out of the way because it's actually, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. Mm-hmm. For me, it's One Piece live action series being really good. I'd given up, I had just assumed it was no longer possible for a live action adaptation of any anime or video game to not be completely dog shit.
Yeah.
Not only was it not dog shit, it made really me go, good. Man, I might need to go actually read One Piece.
Yeah, the thing is, I am also voting for this because I have totally given up on One Piece, right? I gave up on One Piece back in Dressrosa. And so I'm like, there's no way that, especially this is a network, a streaming platform that fumbled Cowboy Bebop, which is supposed to be the easiest W ever for a live action adaptation, right?
Yeah, that should have been an unfumbleable bag, and they fucked it up real bad.
They got John Cho to play Spike, and he's really good, and they still fumbled that bag, right?
If you were to sit me down maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and you're to say, hey Ben, okay, so Netflix is gonna do a Death Note movie, a One Piece live action movie, One Piece series, and a Cowboy Bebop series. One of them is going to be completely mediocre. One of them is going to make you cringe so hard you'll want to die. Mm-hmm. One of them will be phenomenal. I would have never guessed which one of those they would be.
No, absolutely not. The One Piece live action show has no right being this good. It's weird, right? It
shouldn't be anywhere close to this good.
We saw the trailer all together, and we saw Buggy, and we all went, ooh, this ain't gonna be good. And then a couple of weeks later, we all slowly started learning the truth that maybe we were very wrong.
Wrong!
Buggy specifically is I saw him and I'm like, oh, there's no way that's going to work out. He looks terrible. And then he ended up being the best character in the show.
By far.
I've just realized in horror. Sorry to distract from the conversation. It seems we're kind of unanimous on this one. Does anyone have any dissenting votes?
No.
The only thing that would have come close probably for me is Midnight Suns, but like I had Midnight Suns. I expected to be mediocre. I did not expect the One Piece live action to be anywhere close to good, and
Genuinely
it was my
good.
most anticipated show, like the best show I've seen all year.
For me, for me, it was like my runner-up is us playing Fallout 76 because I assumed it would be Sara broke the safety glass, played Fallout 76, and enjoyed it, while Ben and I watched on in horror.
Correct.
I didn't think it would be all of us getting sucked into it. But otherwise, no, it's the One Piece live action series.
Yeah, unequivocally.
I don't mean to cut off the distraction. I was just asking because I had the horrifying realization that because Odo won Best Blorbo, it does mean that Odo is going to be on the Gorge server icon for the rest of the month.
Well, there you go.
Perfect. Exactly what I wanted to happen.
I hate you all.
No, you don't. You love it here. Because otherwise you would have left a long time ago. This is not even the second most deranged thing I've ever done.
This is the first time you've made me taste bile, though. So.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Saturn for April for my birthday. Can you put Brick the Rat as the icon?
Oh, sure. I'll update that. I had it. Yeah, I'll do that because I didn't have anything for April, so I will absolutely put that as your birthday present.
There's even a sprite of him as a little ball, so it works out perfectly.
Perfect.
Yeah, we just replaced the entire Gorge icon with just the Brick the Rat ball. You can't even see any of the logo; it's just Brick the Rat.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't believe they found the real Luffy.
Yes, Iñaki, I think that's how you say his name.
Yes.
He's incredible. He's so good. There's like, it makes, I don't even know how to articulate it. There are so many moments where Luffy is like the typical screaming shonen protagonist, right? Mm-hmm. And it should not translate to live action at all. But the bit where Nami asks for help and he does the Luffy, of course I will scream.
Yeah.
It's sold so perfectly that in the moment you're just like, yeah, of course he will. Yeah. And you're just feeling all of those emotions. It's so incredible.
Yeah, that scene is just like perfectly done.
It's when like we realize like, oh shit, they know exactly what they're doing. This show is made with so much like affection and love. It's so good. I can't wait for. I'm legitimately excited for season 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fucking who knew? One Piece live action is good. Yeah.
I also want to give a quick shout out to live action Zoro for just nailing the best aspects of that character too.
So funny.
I want to give a shout out to live action Nami, Emily Rudd, not just for being a great Nami, she really sells it, but also for, as of 4 days ago, being an extremely good Marcial from Dungeon Meshi, and maybe even one of the best castings in that adaptation.
Oh, is she Marcial?
She's Marcial. She's pitch perfect too.
Awesome.
Her performance is incredible. It's one of the rare instances where I made the time to watch both the sub and the dub, and I went like, yeah, the sub has the advantage of everyone sounds exactly how I expected them to when I was reading the manga, but the dub is just so good, I kind of don't have an excuse not to keep watching the dub.
Yeah. Okay.
I also want to give a shout out to Nami for being the best Kim Pine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She looks and acts so much like live action Kim Pine.
She's great. I mean, she's just great. Genuinely great. Fucking One Piece live action. Great show. Yeah. Who knew?
I can take the next one.
Yeah.
This seems like a good Ben one to take.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, aka the best return. The nominees are Venture Brothers, Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Super Mario RPG, and Alan Wake 2.
It is Venture Brothers, but shout outs to Alan Wake 2. But like, if we're just talking about like coming back after being gone for a really long time and it's just the fucking best, yeah, of course it's Venture Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like, hands down. It's not even hard.
I feel like I have to give it to Venture Brothers, and it's not because, like, I honestly don't even know that I would say the movie specifically is something I feel more strongly about than the other things on this list. But because, like, I wouldn't call Alan Wake 2 a comeback, because even though it's a very late sequel to Alan Wake, Remedy's still been making games, like, the entire time. There's no doubt that they would come back here. And then Super Mario RPG is, like, a very unexpected remake, but it is still, you know, it's... They have been doing some of those lately. It's not the biggest shakeup in the world. To a certain extent, the fact that we got this Venture Brothers movie at all, despite the fact that the horrible production nightmares that show has been going through for the last 10 years of its life, is like kind of a miracle.
Yeah, it shouldn't exist, but it does, and it's really good.
Put it this way: the fact that Venture Brothers got its movie before Metalocalypse did is a miracle.
Yeah, again, if you had told me that like one of those two would get their movie first, I would have said Metalocalypse in a heartbeat, because like the Venture Brothers gets nothing ever.
Right.
And it sounds like this one's another pretty unanimous category, but I do want to give a shout out, even though I haven't watched it yet, to Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. If only because everything I've seen of it looks really gorgeous and like a great pitch perfect adaptation of the comic style. But B, also because of the extremely funny story about it, where it was basically put together because Michael Cera responded to a group email with the entire movie cast like 10 years after the last response. There, like, absolutely no time had passed at all, and that was the thing that made them go, you know, maybe we should try and get back together and do this again. It's great.
The amazing, I remember the exact quote of that is Michael Cera responding to an email joke and saying, haha, that's funny. And then Chris Evans, Captain America, responds with, Mike, why the fuck did you respond to a 10-year-old email? and then I think they said that, they said like it took them like a month to decide, let's make more Scott Pilgrim.
That's so funny to me. But I totally believe it.
That reminds me of I don't know how apocryphal it is, but it's supposedly the writer and director for the 91 Addams Family movie, literally, like, they were just in a van together, and like one of their kids just started humming the Addams Family theme, and that's what started it.
That's so funny.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
But it's Venture Brothers. It's Venture Brothers. It's so good.
It's gotta be Venture Brothers.
Yeah,
it's gotta be the Vancho.
It can't.
Vancho.
It shouldn't exist. It shouldn't have happened. I'm glad it did. Now I want more.
Yeah,
they have to get at least one award on the grounds that this is probably the only year in which they will ever have a chance to appear on the Gorgies.
That's right. Unfortunately, because we live in hell, and I don't know when we'll get another chance, if ever, to give the Venture Brothers something. So here we are.
Who wants to take the next category?
I'm feeling petty, so I'll do this.
Okay.
One. So don't call it a comeback. We're gone forever. And the nominees are James Somerton, E3, Fantastic, Learning with Pibby, Gerard the Completionist, and Yuji Naka.
Oh, this one's brutal.
So I know some of you mentioned, who does not know what some of these are?
I don't know what Gerard the Completionist or Fantastic are.
Yeah, I don't know these two. I know Gerard the Completionist, but I don't know Fantastic.
So Gerard the Completionist got allegedly, I don't know all the details, got wrapped up in some charity fraud.
Yes.
Oh, great.
And is trying to, and was removed from Sea of Stars.
Yes.
Ooh.
He had a Kickstarter cameo in Sea of Stars, and they took him the fuck out of that game.
Echoes of JonTron and Yooka-Laylee.
That's immediately what I thought of.
They did take him out, and then also he's under obviously a lot of fire from his fan base for getting wrapped up in all this.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic is the company behind what's the name of that game? The Day Before. Which is a survival horror MMO RPG?
MMO, yeah.
That's the controversy, is they build it as an MMO, but it's really kind of an extraction shooter like Tarkov.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which it was released as one of the buggiest and most unplayable games of 2023 in a year where that King Kong and Gollum game came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it was so bad that Steam is actually refunding everyone who bought it because it was removed from Steam. It was removed from Steam.
Yeah, like the game that lets you do which Hitler am I gonna fuck 7? They took this game down. Like it's super busted and extremely bad.
And the studio shutting down.
And the studio is shutting down. It was a huge debacle. This is a game that people wanted for like 10 years. And then when it came out, it was like nothing. So that's an extremely good poll as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm ready to announce my vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to provide some explanations for what I think are obvious runners-up that I am not voting for.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though that company is gone, the people who work there will absolutely find other jobs. No one knows who those fucking people are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not James Somerton. Because even though his career as a YouTuber is completely shot to fuck, he has not faced any litigation and can still probably get a job doing something. Yuji Naka burned every professional bridge he had and went to jail to do $170,000 worth of insider trading in a game which has already announced it's being canceled.
Yeah.
That dude ain't coming back.
No, this one's
He's gonna be in the dumpster fishing for ham scraps.
It's also, I think, out of all of them, the most, delicious schadenfreude, because as you slowly, kind of go through all of the history of what Yuji Naka has done, you realize, all of the parts that I don't like about such and such Sega game are Yuji Naka's fault.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
The number of games that, of sequels and stuff to games that came out after Yuji Naka was oh, he was literally responsible for all the bad parts of Sonic games, wasn't he? Huh. How about that?
It's kind of like how after Ono left Capcom got better basically overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Or Keiji Inafune also leaving Capcom.
Yeah.
And then Capcom got better overnight.
It's weird how much this keeps happening, where there's an extremely influential Japanese creator who leaves a company after decades, and then very suddenly everything in that company immediately gets a full point or two better.
I am making a very small edit. I'm making a very small edit.
Uh-huh.
Oates put Yuji Naka in parentheses, the Japanese Tommy Tallarico.
It's so true, is the thing.
Remember the time he Stalin photoed that guy from Sonic Team who he didn't like?
He didn't do that.
He's so just oh my god.
It is funny that you bring up Keiji Inafune though, because I'm constantly getting him and Yuji Naka mixed up because I'm which blue mascot character whose creator ruined them am I thinking of?
Oh yeah. It's really impressive just how because to me the craziest part is the fact that he went to jail he went to prison.
To hardcore jail.
He got 5 years, 2 years, something like that?
He got 2 years. He's going to for real prison for a game that is already dead. The comedy of that cannot be overstated. It's incredible.
His grand heist of $100.
Yeah,
it was for a relatively small amount of money. He gambled his entire professional career. Don't get me wrong. I would consider some degree of malfeasance for $170,000. I would not make it impossible to ever get hired ever again for anything except a dishwasher job for $170,000. Simply not happening.
He tried to pull a fucking Ed Netty scam for a quarter.
If anyone would, definitely Yuji Naka.
It's amazing.
You can't deny it's in character.
It's true.
I'm glad Saturn also knew exactly who I was going for too, because my god.
Just
I do also really want a quick shout out. E3's gone forever, but we still have Jeff Keighley, I guess.
Yeah, I only don't vote for E3 being gone forever because it's been gone forever for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's now formally like the doctor came in and went like, oh yeah, he died like 3 years ago. It's like, oh, I thought he was still alive. Like, he's been putrefying on the couch. What did you think was happening?
Kinza's been dead this whole time, you guys.
How can we be sure that E3 is dead? I guarantee it.
I will guarantee it with absolute certainty. There are only 17 people on this island. And one of them is definitely not E3.
There is only 17 people in E3.
Oh god, yeah, no. It's
Yuji Naka.
It's Yuji Naka.
E3, more than anything, needs a lot of money right now. I guess you could also say that about Yuji Naka.
Yeah. Yuji Naka, more than anything, needs a lot of money right now.
Well, especially because his 2-year prison sentence, I think, was accompanied by several million yen in fines.
Yeah, no, he has to pay like a really absurd amount of restitution, or he goes back to prison for another like year or two or something.
Mm-hmm.
I also really quick just want to call out to James Somerton for getting obliterated in one shot like Vegeta killing Nappa.
It's
Each bomber guy just looked at James Somerton and said, "Your turtleneck can't hold your head up," and just blew him up.
He's really agreed. The thing is that like the H Bomber guy video is bad, but did you watch the Todd in the Shadows video that came out like a couple hours later? So this happened because Todd in the Shadows, who is just a music YouTuber, right? Like his whole bit is that he talks about music, but he kept noticing like he just kept noticing like factual errors in James Somerton videos, and he started to make it. And like all these YouTubers, they all talk, you know.
Right.
He started to make a video, and I guess it got back to H-Bomb that, you know, they were working on the same subject. And so H-Bomb was like, hey, can I put mine out first, and then you can put yours out? And it's like, okay, cool. I watched the Todd in the Shadows video. That video actually makes me angrier than the H-Bomb video. Just in terms of, like, extremely insane and, like, evil shit that this man said, right? Like, yes, it's extremely bad to plagiarize from other queer creators. Absolutely. Especially when you're not even giving them like a cursory shout out or anything. You're just presenting them all as your own words. But even more egregious is saying that the reason gay marriage matters is because all the cool people died of AIDS.
Yeah.
It's just one of the most like vile and insane things I had to turn the video off. I like literally turn the video off and walk away from it. So like I'm getting too mad watching this YouTube video.
That video also had the certified James Somerton banger of at one point he was telling something that was just directly a lie with no source about anti-competitive, like the way China treats, you know, American film, doing it while wearing a Chinese dress shirt with a control-ass red light background blaring down on him. Like, dude, come on.
It's like everything you didn't...
and fraud.
Everything you didn't steal is either racist, homophobic, or misogynist.
Yeah, incredible.
Is James Somerton the most homophobic gay man?
Yes, actually.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, no, but it is Yuji Naka, but absolutely shout out to fucking to James Dumberton, who also is just like never come back. He tried. It backfired marvelously.
He tried one time. He tried. If James Dumberton is Frieza getting killed by Trunks, his return is when he's in Fusion Reborn and Gohan just punches him and kills him.
Exactly. It's amazing. So like,
I think we can let Sarah take this.
Yes,
next
this is Sarah's category for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, Oates, but I'd say I think he's done more categories than Sarah at this point, so we have to let it be evenly split.
Okay,
it's fine. This is the award for the best Zenos of the year, and the nominees are Ganondorf from Tears of the Kingdom, Kraven from Spider-Man 2, The Noise from Pizza Tower. Is it VI Freud?
V1.
V1 Freud, thank you. From Armored Core 6, and Jack Krauser from Resident Evil 4. I already know this one. It's the guy from Armored Core 6. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I will make the argument for anyone that, because I imagine I know that a lot of the Gorge has not played Armored Core 6 yet, so I will offer the explainer here. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who is the most elite member of the most elite merc team in the game. You fight him in one ending route where he just shows up and kills your friend, and then it's like, all right, I'm going to fight you now. After, disparaging your friends being a robot and being a predictable robot pilot. And he is just like a complete sicko who is very clearly, up to the moment of his explosion death, ignoring his objectives and his other teammates because he's so engrossed in the fight. And when you go to the side content game mode that's like... you do demo fights against AI reconstructions of like the pilots that are in the game. The one for VI Freud is confirms that despite being the most elite leading member of this team of all augmented humans, which is like in the game is like various, like you've received some sort of cybernetic augment to basically be able to control the mech better. He is a completely unaugmented human piloting the mechs manually, and his only interest is in fine-tuning his mech and doing more mech fights.
That's right. King. Absolutely.
That is some Black Manta levels of hatery.
Yeah, he's a professional hater, not specifically for you, but like the sheer joy of hating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we watched you play the bit where you fight him, and he just has Zenos core voice lines. It can only be the one guy. Like,
I'm sad he's not actually individually credited in English, because I'd love to know which of the dub actors it was. But it's one of those things where even though he has his individual voice credit in Japanese, I think in English he's one of the additional voices, quote unquote.
Because he only has a handful of lines.
So I don't actually have any way of telling like who specifically voices him, which is tragic because I want to find more voice claims for that guy.
Yeah, that guy's really good. Is the thing.
I do have to talk. It's three to whatever, so it's not going to matter. But I do want to talk about Kraven for a bit, please,
sure.
Because Kraven is Zenos. He just is 100% Zenos in this game, and in the state that he is the best hunter in the world, and he just loves killing opponents. And he loves the thrill of the battle. And he so badly wants to be killed by Spider-Man. He wants it so badly that if he defeats you in the boss battle, he screams out no.
That's great.
It's so
That's good.
He thanks you. He thanks Venom for killing him.
Great.
I'm going to be real, that's the most I've heard a description of a character in Spider-Man 2 that makes me go, oh, that's a Venture Brothers character.
Yeah.
Kraven is a Venture Brothers character, just in general.
In general. They did have a Kraven-like character in Venture Brothers. They had Latour.
Well, also, Harangutan is also very much a Kraven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Other half.
But no, like I was delighted when Kraven is just like, no, it needs to be you. You need to kill me. I need to fight you specifically. All these other guys are chumps. I'm like, that's Zenos.
That's Zenos. Yeah.
Be Spider-Man, loyalty to me or loyalty to New York City.
And the other thing that kind of sealed the deal for me is that Kraven kind of gets off on it a little bit.
Oh, that's
of course,
fair.
it's essential.
That's essential. Absolutely. Yeah. That's vital.
Also, the noise is pretty much as close to a Craven as a Zenos you'll get in Pizza Tower, which is hilarious to me.
He's the weird shapeshifter, right?
He's the Noid. He's the
Noid. Right? Never
Yeah.
mind. I'm thinking of the Peppino clone.
Yeah. What's it? Weird Peppino, I think something.
I think it is literally just Weird Peppino.
Yeah. But yeah, the Noise and Peppino just fucking hate each other. They just cannot stand each other at all. In a Monarch and Rusty kind of way.
I recall their boss fight involves you both being given cowboy-style 6-shooters.
No, that's
blasting each other.
No. That's another boss fight.
Oh, okay.
That's I think he's just the sheriff or marshal. I think.
Oh,
Marshal.
I don't remember him.
Yeah. No,
I could have sworn it was the Noise.
The Noise fight ends because the Noise's girlfriend walks on and drags him off.
Yeah, that is the most Earthworm Jim ass boss fight.
Yeah.
That is also just make him the monarch because his girlfriend's like, look, you gotta stop fighting this little Italian pizza man. He's got anxiety.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like Ben should take this one since this is technically a Ben category.
This is just a Ben category, yeah.
Best prosthetic arm. The nominees are Liquid Snake's Ghost Arm in Metal Gear Solid 2, Link's Zonai Arm in Tears of the Kingdom, Chai's Magnet Arm in Hi-Fi Rush, and Krauser's Blade Arm in Resident Evil 4 Remake.
That's a hard one.
I'm going to make a vote here for the Zonai Arm.
Mm-hmm.
And a personal aesthetic sensibility, it's a cool-ass corpse arm that's grafted to his body, but also it's got these crazy magical runes in it that light up as you advance in the quest. And it's like, even if it's not like particularly aesthetically coherent or like necessarily as like has a cool moment as the other two, it is the one I would put on a character I'd play in Pathfinder. Mm-hmm. So it's the one I'm voting for.
My argument against it is they had this long buildup of us seeing Link having a really cool fucking like Devil Breaker arm, right? And he isn't able to use it as a hook shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a huge detractor for
that.
me, unfortunately. It's so petty, but I cannot like it.
No, I understand completely. I wish that game had a hook shot.
It is for that specific reason that I am giving my vote to Chai's Magnet Arm.
Yeah.
Because it has a hook shot.
Yes.
It's got hook shot.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
Chai's arm also does have a really cool design to it. I really like that Chai's arm loses a finger.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I just think that's a really neat little aesthetic choice.
A little extra design touch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
I am also gonna vote for Chai's arm because it's Nero, right?
Yeah, it's Nero's Devil Bringer.
It's the closest that we get to a Devil May Cry game, basically all year. It's got a grappling hook in it. It's cool, right? It looks cool. It's in a cool video game. And again, it is so close because, yeah, like aesthetically, I really like the Zonai arm, and I like all the cool stuff it does. And it's like you said, a spooky ghost arm, but just like, and also he loses it at the end of the game.
Yeah, I have no issues conceding this. I completely agree with where you're coming from.
Sure.
I just have not played Hi-Fi Rush. So
right, exactly. But like, and he loses it. Like, even if Link had like kept it at the end of the game, then I might be like, oh, cool, we'll get a third one of these, and maybe it'll have a fucking grappling hook. But we're not getting a third one of these. No. And Link lost his arm at the end of the game.
I think we'll get a third one of these, just not on the Switch.
Yeah. Link losing his Zonai arm, I felt the opposite of when Nero lost his robot arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like with Nero, it's like earned. With Link, it's just like, oh, you're returning to the status quo. Thanks, Alabama.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we could have done something way cooler and had cool Monster Girl Zelda like everybody on the internet wants, because everybody on the internet has a huge brain, and Link with a fucked up arm. But no, everything just goes back to normal. It's okay.
As we've established in other games that we've played on other podcasts, having a fucked up arm adds some spice.
That's correct. We love it.
My vote's not gonna matter, but Krauser's blade arm was really sexy.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, it is a cool arm.
That's
Well,
fine.
it's
Voting
I do feel the need to at least give a little bit of shout outs to Liquid Snake's Ghost Arm.
Yeah.
It doesn't do much, and it is kind of visually boring, but of these, it is maybe the most plot important
Yes.
of
the most
the
insane.
prosthetic arm.
Listen, I know what Hideo Kojima has said, and I respectfully disagree. Liquid Snake's ghost possessed Ocelot.
He's just wrong.
He is. I'm sorry, but he is wrong about that.
Like, I'm familiar with George Lucas. Someone can just be wrong about the thing that they made.
Yeah, no. I respect him for creating this world, but he is mistaken in the facts that happened in the world of Metal Gear Solid. And the correct answer is that Liquid Snake's ghost did in fact possess Ocelot's prosthetic arm.
That's right.
That all tracks to me.
Yeah.
It would have won if Liquid Snake's ghost actually had possessed Ocelot's ghost arm.
Yes.
But it's okay.
And like I want to say one final thing about Chai real quick. That, like I mentioned in the episode we recorded, I'm really, really glad that it's Chai's right arm that gets replaced, because that would suck to be one finger less while trying to learn to play the guitar.
That's correct.
I would have felt so bad for that kid.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's our last one before we get to the champion category.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So the last one before we get into champion category and talking about game of the year a little is most anticipated of 2024 with Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. I'm realizing anyway. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dragon Ball Daima, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Tsukihime, A Piece of Blue Glass Moon, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Unicorn Overlord, and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the remake.
Big category, but also we don't know anything really about any of these games, so not much to say about them.
That's right. I already know mine. It's Tsukihime.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no. As excited as I am for the FF7 Remake Part 2, I already played that game once, even if they're making new things for it, right? Even though that, like, the 7 Remake is diverging in fun and interesting ways, I have already played a version of the second part of Final Fantasy VII. You know what I've never played? You know what I never thought I ever would play? The Tsukihime remake. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, it's not even close. Waking up and hearing that the Tsukihime remake is coming out in English and you can just buy it and play it like a normal video game was like waking up in another universe, right? Like, what do you mean Tsukihime is coming out in English? Next you're gonna tell me the Fate Stay Night is coming out in English officially.
I mean, maybe.
Anything is possible. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's Tsukihime, hands down. It's the most insane, like, thing they've announced for this coming year. I can't believe it. I'm very excited if you can't tell.
Yeah.
For very similar thematic reasons, I'm giving my vote to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Sure.
Because I mentioned this to Sara. The last Budokai Tenkaichi game came out before Super. It came out before Yo Son Goku and his friends returned. It came out before the episode of Bardock special. We're gonna get 450 characters in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Yeah, that's fair. It's gonna be awesome.
They're gonna add every single participant in the Tournament of Power.
As long as it plays like an upgraded version of Xenoverse 2, I can understand being excited about it. I just really hope that it isn't literally just like they brought back the old classic vintage Budokai Tenkaichi. I don't want it to be that clunky. I've upgraded since then.
I mean, considering what Kakarot and what Xenoverse 2 are, I'm sure it's gonna be fantastic.
I hope so.
It's gonna be an absolute treat. I'm I can't believe we live in a world where we're getting Budokai Tenkaichi 4.
Exactly.
This is insane. There's gonna be so many fucking characters. We're gonna have 20 versions of Goku, and I'm gonna play all of them.
And like we said, if a game has Goku in it, that's what makes it good. So by that metric, Sparking Zero is going to be the best game of 2024 because it's going to have at least 40 Goku.
Who's your fighter Z-main? Oh, Goku. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it?
We're gonna get Goku early, Goku mid, Goku late, Goku Super, Goku GT, Goku Daima.
All of them. It's never going to end. Congratulations.
So you say you're a true Dragon Ball fan? Fine. Name 13 different characters in a Dragon Ball game. Goku. That's fair. That's a bar too low.
We're too low.
What's your votes?
It's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I
cannot stress enough for me how insane it is that, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake showed up, and at the very end it went, hey, so this is kind of like a end of Evangelion style thing, so good luck with Disc 2.
The only reason I did not vote for Rebirth is because I'm scared of Rebirth.
I care. I live in fear of Rebirth. Absolutely.
They say if FF7 Rebirth, your swag too different, your bitch is too bad, they'll kill you.
The reason I'm streaming that game is the equivalent of watching a horror movie with the lights on.
Yeah, you gotta play it with a friend so you can at least you can keep going because you're like, oh god, I'm afraid to see what happens next.
My vote is for Unicorn Overlord because it's the newest Vanillaware game. And as we have established, don't fuck with 13 Sentinels fans. We can't talk about our favorite video game.
Yeah.
That game could be fucking anything. I have no idea what they're cooking over there.
The 13 Sentinels staff is making a fucking Fire Emblem. And what's going to happen in that game?
However, I do regret to inform everyone that this means we have a 4-way tie. Which is the most anticipated game of 2024 is in Pizza Tower.
It's Pizza Tower 2, baby! A game that has not been announced and there's no hint at all that it'll ever come out.
Great!
It's Pizza Tower DLC.
I have to make it really big so everyone knows how important it is. I'm gonna go gray out all these other ones.
They don't matter.
They don't matter. That shit don't matter.
Pizza Tower sweet.
Game of 2024, Pizza Tower, which came out this year and you can play right now. I anticipate playing it.
Great. Great. Fantastic. Good job, everyone.
Good. It had to be this way, though.
Okay.
I can't get over how funny it is that Pizza Tower won 2 categories and their most anticipated game of 2024 and best sequel to Breath of the Wild. It almost took Fate release before we managed to course correct at the last possible minute.
You wasted your barrier too early.
No, I had to protect the dignity of Fate. I think it was worthwhile.
The dignity. Okay, sure.
Dignity of Breath of the Wild.
I played Fate Grand Order.
Off to death.
Played Stay Night.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right.
Then
it's time for your personal category.
Folks, it's been real hard to be a fan of Spider-Man lately. We Spider-Man fans have not been having a good time since 2007.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We have been oppressed by the liberal government and also the conservative government, and really most of the extant forces, political or otherwise, in the last 15 years.
And the most oppressive minority of all, gamers.
And the past 2-ish years, year and a half-ish, have been especially rough. Things have not been going great.
I remember vividly seeing the snippets of that one Spider-Man comic that was just like a weird, pointless cuck arc? Question mark.
Yeah, that lasted over a year.
Why'd they do that?
I don't know. I don't know why they made Peter get cucked by the most dripless man of all time.
Who may or may not be an author self-insert.
No, he's definitely not that. We know what Zeb Wells looks like, and he's just, which makes it even weirder because it's just like a guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2023 is a pretty good year for Spider-Man, actually.
Thank God.
So here's my nominees of the best thing that happened to Spider-Man in 2023. Miles Morales gets a fucking electric sword. Mm-hmm. He just straight up starts Kuwabaraing guys now. They're doing the smartest thing ever, mm-hmm. which is, hey, you've got all these teen heroes in the year 2023. They're weebs. They should all be weebs, okay? Yeah. Miss Marvel should be watching One Piece and taking notes. Okay, like
you know, Miles Morales be watching Jujutsu Kaisen for better or worse.
Absolutely, that was the exact same anime I was thinking.
Miles Morales, I love him. He's a fantastic character. He's one of my favorite characters in Marvel history. That boy has the most basic anime taste of all time. That kid's favorite anime is My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Okay, he watches Boruto. All right. He reads Jujutsu Kaisen. Of course he gets an electric sword.
The only thing about his electric sword, I'll point it out because I've seen it. It's not a katana.
It should be a katana.
It should be a katana.
It should be. I get why it's not, but it should be a katana, okay? You
really
need to embrace it. You need to embrace him that he is canonically has the most basic bitch anime taste of all time.
Can you link us a picture of his electro sword? Because I haven't actually seen it.
It's like a broadsword.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, if it's not going to be a katana, which is acceptable, it should at least be a chokuto.
Right. I realize in either case it wouldn't be. And it's not because they don't want to make him too weebish. I think it's because Blade would be a little upset at someone stealing his fire.
Yeah.
I think hold on, we're missing the possibility of having a game where Miles Morales is being tutored by Blade as an older uncle figure.
Listen,
listen.
The coolest thing about the sword, by the way, is basically Marvel announces Insomniac's Spider-Man 3's Miles' new finisher move.
Right.
He's gonna use the sword.
It looks cool. It is a cool looking, but it's like a fantasy broadsword looking kind of sword. Yeah. It should have been a katana. I'm sorry.
I'm just imagining Blade hanging out with him now listen, you can't web up vampires. Or I guess you could just leave them up and then the sunlight would evaporate them, but then that would definitely be killing. All I'm saying is you have to get into a fight with a vampire ready to kill or be killed. Miles. I'll find another way.
The other next option, Spider-Man 2 Across the Spider-Verse came out, and it's the best movie I've ever seen.
That's correct.
It was an absolute treat. I was smiling from ear to ear the entire time.
Yeah.
And then I got to do that again when Spider-Man 2 came out, and it's one of the best fucking video games I've ever played. And again, just ear to ear the entire time. And then Jonathan Hickman announces that he's writing a middle-aged Ultimate Spider-Man reboot.
Oh my God.
What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? And then Greg Weisman, creator of Spectacular Spider-Man, the best Spider-Man cartoon, is hey, I'm gonna write a Spider-Man ongoing where Peter and Miles are just teaming up. Why haven't we done this before? Why has it taken this long to just make an ongoing where it's just the two of them?
A Marvel, American Comics, that's why.
Hey, you know what? I think Bugs and Daffy should hang out in the same cartoon.
Yeah,
that also took several years, Ben. Don't be.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. What did he? Why? Why did it take so long? Anyway, does anyone want to vote on these, or is this just kind of like a free-for-all?
I believe what we did last year is we let the person whose champion category it is pick, but also if people want to say their thoughts, if they have opinions, we air them, but it's understood that this is not a vote, this is a declaration.
Yes.
Correct.
I will air my only opinion. I don't have a whole lot of dogs in this race, but I will air my phantom vote for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I have not watched.
Correct.
But on the grounds that it has Spider-Gwen in it, which means that I would probably enjoy it.
That's correct.
That's
It's
correct.
a great movie.
Mhm.
It is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I don't really got a dog in this race. Of these, it's like the only thing I've absorbed is Across the Spider-Verse, so it's that.
Yeah,
Another phantom vote for Across the Spider-Verse.
that's correct. Same here.
Yeah, I'm giving it to that one too.
Yeah.
Because Across the Spider-Verse immediately jumped to being my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah. It's just that good. It's just really
it was
good.
an absolute delight from start to finish. Second place, though, is Jonathan Hickman getting to write Middle-Aged Ultimate Spider-Man reboot, which is, I read they put the preview out. I read one word of dialogue and went 10 out of 10, flawless. He's done it again. You can't stop this man. Incredible. Masterpiece.
Just applauding wildly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
It's time for... I feel the need to lead ahead of time. Because, sometimes you just go for a bit, and you realize too late that it's, maybe not as funny as you thought the bit was originally, but also you don't really have any better ideas. So, I'm just going to leave it as is. This year, because also, my approach for my champion categories for the 2 years I've done this has been, I try and think about all the things that I played this year, and try and think of something that links several of them. Which is why this year it's Saturn's Gandalf Big Naturals Award, sponsored by the American Psychiatric Association.
You're insane women with large breasts. I understand.
For the biggest characters in 2023 who just need a little bit of professional assistance. Our nominees are Velvet Crow from Tales of Berseria, which is on here because I played it for the first time this year. Juri Han from Street Fighter 6. Barghest from Lost Belt 6, aka Avalon LaFay. Don Quixote from Limbus Company. And last but not least, Don Quixote from Don Quixote.
The original Don Quixote?
Yes, by Miguel de Cervantes. Yes, that Don Quixote. Yeah, Don Quixote from Don Quixote. I feel like this category is itself fairly self-explanatory for why these people have been nominated in it. So I will just skip to asking if anyone has any phantom vote recommendations for the Gandalf Big Naturals Award, sponsored by the American Psychiatric Association.
I don't know much about three of these people, but just looking at them, I do have to say, Juri Han, I know the appeal for Juri. It's not her chest. Okay, we all know what body part everyone's obsessed over with Juri. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
We get that.
That's completely fair.
Yeah, you really can't argue with it.
And as for the others, if we're just going to break it down, in terms of what this category is about, it's got to be Barghest, because she's just a mountain.
If we're talking about both large Barghests, which has itself become a part of our vocabulary when we are talking about big women with big boobies, there's really nobody who can be beat. And I'm saying this is the world's biggest Velvet Crow stan. However, if we're talking about women with large boobs who need a lot of psychiatric help, Barghest is extremely high up there.
I'll be honest with you folks. Velvets, in comparison, aren't that big. They're just out.
That's correct. They're not that big, but they are out there. She has normal size boobies.
I will concede to that. However, Velvet does have the biggest underbow, which does count as a big natural. And can we all say with certainty that we'll ever get a chance to vote for Velvet Crow again.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Damn. I can't choose. Fortunately, I don't have to.
Yeah.
Because this is Saturn's category, so I vote for both. For my two favorite insane women with just so much, right? So much psychiatric problems and bar guests.
I think I've had to deliberate on this a long time because this is actually a significantly more difficult category than I had originally conceived of it being. But after some difficult considerations, I have come to the conclusion that the winner of this category is, in fact, Barguest.
Yes.
A, she's illustrated by someone named Melon22, which should tell you all you need to know.
Those priorities, yeah, for sure.
But more than that, she, by herself, as a one-woman show, manages to recreate one of the central mysteries of Umineko, which is the quantum death state of Ushiromi Akinzo. She doesn't even need a supporting cast for that one. She just does it on her own, and that takes a fantastic amount of mental gymnastics to twirl through.
Good for her.
So I do have to afford it to Barguest. I gotta shout out Velvet Crow. Naturals aren't very big, but they are out. And she is definitely insane, but in a way that is
categorically, yeah.
If she just had some medications, she'd probably be okay. And I also gotta shout it out to Don Quixote Olympus Company, who cannot be saved, and most people were surprised to find out that she does in fact have big naturals. But it turns out she's had them the entire time. She just never wears clothing that actually shows it off. So the one time you get clothing that does, you're like, holy fuck.
Great.
Anyway, Barguest. Congratulations, Barguest.
Good for her.
I'm glad that you got some kind of W.
And some kind of medication someday, maybe. Okay. Oates, you're up.
So, 2023 was a really rough year for me. There's a lot of terrible things going on in it. Losing my home, losing family, more family emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but most importantly, it's been like 2 years since I've seen a Zenos, and I'm getting a little, I'm getting some withdrawal symptoms of that. So I had to find something to fill the void, and that is why we celebrate the Oatmeal Award for excellence in the field of making me briefly shut up about Zenos. And our nominees are Fallout 76, featuring New Vegas withdrawals at 500 hours. Warframe's Big Naturals, clocking in at 300 plus hours of distraction. Umineko, episodes 2 through 6. I had done episode 1 in 2022. Bringing approximately 80 hours of distraction. Tears of the Kingdom. Sidone, please come back. Ganon means nothing to me, really. At approximately 120 hours. Cyberpunk 2077 and the only Idris Elba I have ever hated at 80 hours. And then special mentions go to Sara quarantining me twice to watch Transformers episodes.
Yay!
The Venture Brothers marathons throughout the month of November featuring Ben, Sara, and Saturn.
Yay!
That's for so many things to blunt the pain
So many
of
things.
not seeing a Zenos in the video game for 2 whole years.
I'm going to make a negative phantom vote. Something that I don't think should win it.
Okay.
Which is Warframe, because you did make Zenos in Warframe. I did not actually make you shut up about Zenos.
No, that actually didn't distract you. Sorry to say, sweetheart.
Oates, that is like how Ramona named her cat Gideon.
Shut up, Saturn. You shut up. Shut up. You're not allowed to vote. You're normal.
Oh, God. Well, I think in terms of the most not thinking about Zenos, it actually has to go to Fallout 76, because at least it gave us briefly a whole new cadre of freaks to become obsessed with instead. So, just bang for your buck. It really can't be beat, right?
And also, 76 didn't have anyone even coming close to a Zenos-like.
Oh God, no! Like we got one mildly compelling freak, and he didn't get to be in the game for very long, but he was voiced by Joshua Graham, so bonus points there. But still, nothing otherwise.
Yeah.
It is a game that is very uniquely opposed to the idea that Zenos could possibly exist in it.
Exactly.
I'm also going to make the bold suggestion that we need to disqualify Umineko because Erika Furude is also a Zenos.
I want to say if a Zenos showed up in Fallout 76, he would get laughed at.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same.
That's true.
I think you're all right. And in the end, the thing that distracted me for the longest, and the thing that briefly let me unsubscribe to Final Fantasy XIV was Fallout 76, so it's got to go to that one.
That's right. Congratulations, Queen. For some reason, Fallout 76 decided to captivate us thoroughly this year. I don't know how that happened either. It's a good video
Congratulations, Fallout 76. Somehow in the year that Starfield came out, you won 2 categories on this show.
Honestly, that's the only way it should have gone.
Yeah. And then last, but certainly not least, well, maybe least, because it took me the month and a half to come up with it, but never mind that.
No, you're good.
We have the Sara Video Games and the Heartbreakers present the award for game that made me feel like the biggest moron. And truly, well, I guess thing, I need to revise that, thing that made me feel like the biggest moron, because there's a non-video game thing in here too. Because, like, I'm really stupid, and I keep falling for it in one way or another, is the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always falling for it, right? I can't help it. I'm dumb. So the nominees are The North Wind and the Sun from Umineko Nanako Koroni. Why you gotta wear that suit, though? Featuring Kale from Hi-Fi Rush. Maybe this time will be different with Luis and the Resident Evil 4 remake. This won't make me insane at all for the Venture Brothers. And having hope at all for Starfield. At all. Any hope. What a fool I was. So, you know, it's been a rough year.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
I think I know which of these Sarah is going to vote for, but I will nonetheless cast my phantom vote for North Wind and the Sun from Umineko, because Sarah, I gotta stress, when I was going through that chapter, I literally was watching it happen and got to the end of that chapter and being like, but yeah, she's doing the North Wind and Sun thing, right? That's what's happening here. Like that she's obviously doing a big trick, and despite seeing this, still when the moment came, went no.
I've never. It really is a toss up between the first and the last one.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, it's hard because Starfield being bad is like. Sarah, how do I even deal?
Sarah, you remember that 4chan copy pasta about the 2 kids who got really excited about Kangaroo Jack and somehow convinced themselves that Kangaroo Jack was a good movie? And when they watched it again when they were a little older, they both started crying. That's how I feel you and I went through Starfield.
Starfield, yeah.
Here's my like tipping point for this one. If that helps at all.
Please.
I do remember everybody like kind of let you have that moment happen in Umineko because they thought it was funny.
That's correct.
with the single exception of us being kind of just a little bit interested during the E3 presentation for Starfield, I spent the entire last 2 or 3 years tempering my expectations really hard and reminding everybody else I don't think it's going to hold up.
Yeah.
See, my thing is you are definitely gonna fall for North. It literally doesn't matter who you are. I don't think a single person who has read Umineko and not fallen for the North Wind and Sun.
But
Starfield is at least a thing where I don't think it was unreasonable to have even a meager amount of hope that it would be unremarkable, and it being kind of insanely bad is it's just simply, I don't think literally anyone predicted it was going to be as insanely bad as it was, even the people who were being cynical.
That's honestly,
At risk of going on a crazy tangent.
Sure.
The thing is that if you have all of these conversations and we just edit out Starfield, it's like Garfield minus Garfield, where we just see Sara just slowly screaming at nothing in particular, and everyone's just are you okay?
Yeah, that's a good point. Listen, the North Wind and the Sun is the most a video game has punched me in the mouth all year, but I guess it's in a good way, right? I guess it made me feel, it definitely made me feel stupid, but
it's good writing that tricked you.
It's good writing. It tricked me, exactly, and it tricks everybody. Everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. Is you can't feel that big of a moron because literally no one is immune to it.
Correct. However, Starfield makes me feel like a moron for going to bat for that game in build up to its release, because I was it can't be worse than Fallout 4. I genuinely, the whole time we're watching previews for this game, I'm it can't be worse than Fallout 4. If it's as good as Fallout 4, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna play it for 2,500 hours. I played it for 30 hours and never went back, right?
Mm-hmm. It's if it's at least Fallout 4, a game that came out 8 years ago.
Yeah,
we upgraded our computers for you, Fallout or Starfield.
I upgraded my computer to play Starfield. I spent a lot of money that I normally never would to play Starfield. And Starfield rewarded me by being the most boring fucking thing I think I've ever played in my life, honestly. I've played a lot of boring video games and turned them off very quickly, but Starfield is so nothing. I mean, we've already gone on this tangent. The point is that Starfield is the game that made me feel like the biggest fool.
Eat your lasagna and left you with cat food.
That's right.
I want to say one more thing about Starfield, is that as a person in my life who exists, I don't like to think of any regrets I have, because everything I am and every action I've ever taken in my life has led me to this point. So I can't regret anything because that's where I am, right?
Right.
There are 2 video games in the world that I regret buying.
Mm-hmm.
One is Duke Nukem Forever. The other is Starfield.
The other is Starfield. Yeah, I definitely... That's
you know
the thing,
Ben?
is that I genuinely regret it.
You know what, Ben? Duke Nukem Forever is at the very least an important touchstone in video gaming history.
That is correct. And you know what? I still have the collector's edition Duke statue on my shelf.
That's fair.
Have you checked how much that goes for on eBay?
I'm going to assume negative money.
Hold on. I should find out. One second.
Time will tell if Starfield will make a cornerstone in video game history, as the video game, the AAA game crash can be credited to it 20 years down the line.
Starfield is at least responsible for finally getting Todd out of making video games at Bethesda, it will have been worth it. But in the meantime, I just feel like a fool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's Starfield. Ugh, God.
Honestly, Ben, I was expecting it would go for more.
What is it going for?
There's sealed Duke Nukem Forever collector's editions with the statue and everything that are going for like $60.
Yeah,
you genuinely may as well keep it.
Yeah, no. At that point, it's like it'd be more effort to box it up.
God, that's so funny. Is it time for Game of the Year deliberations?
I would like so we can try to deliberate and get a list down, but that's a lot of work. I would much prefer talking about our personal
Game of the Year,
five-ish Game of the Years. You know, like our top fives. Or whatever.
I probably honestly don't even have a top 5. But that's
I really just want to talk about the one, because I've talked about everything else over the course of this episode that I think has been good or interesting or et cetera, et cetera.
There are a few that I did not get to talk about in my list. So I do have 5, and it was very hard to get to 5 because there was so much that came out this year.
Well, how about you tell us about our 5 then, and then I'll see if I can think of a list that I would actually want to talk about that is like at least like 3.
So my number 5 is Sea of Stars, which is an immaculate brand new JRPG that came out that really does feel like it could have come out on the PS1. It has super interesting gameplay mechanics. It has a fascinating story. The sprite work is gorgeous. The characters are quirky and interesting and really fun. And they get a lot of depth put into them. The gameplay mechanics blend Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG really well. Music is great. The environments are beautiful. It's just fun. It's just pure, enjoyable fun. And it really did take me back to playing old classic RPGs. And I'm surprised that it was so good because I really didn't like The Messenger that much, but this game absolutely sold me on this world and everything that goes into it. My number 4, surprisingly, is Midnight Suns.
Yeah,
a game that I played that I did technically play in 2023, and I wish I would have played sooner because it's really fucking good. The gameplay is super dynamic, and I've had a lot of close encounters, and they've gotten really tense, and like clutching out a victory feels really good. It's chock full of just Marvel fan service all over. The roster is great. It's just a lot of fun. You get to be friends with Spider-Man. You get to be friends with Blade. You get to be friends with Iron Man. It's everything you could ever want in a video game. It's very clear they were going to have romance options, and then Marvel made them rip that out.
No!
If you had romance options in that game, I would be going to buy it right now. Can you imagine the scene they write because you really want to fuck Deadpool?
That's just my my favorite old fix about Whirl and OC.
But it's like you get a lot of moments of just like it's you and Captain America late at night, and he's telling you how much he trusts you and how much he values you on your team. And you're sitting right next to each other, and you might even be in a hot tub together. And
it is very that one scene from FF14 Endwalker where, like, midway through they have the scenes like, "Oh, who's that at my bedroom door?" And it's one of the 6 established characters that you could hypothetically pair your OC with, and it not be like weird for their character arc. Sorry, Orion J. And just like, this isn't actually a romantic scene in literally any way. But it's clearly there just so that people will write fan fiction about it.
Yeah.
It is very much a tantalizing tease. That like, ooh, you can almost fuck Blade. You can get real close to fucking Blade.
Unfortunately, he's still busy thinking about all those damn vampires.
Is anybody going to help me with these damn vampires? No.
Can I get a lurid fan fiction romance between Blade and Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3?
Holy shit.
I'm on it.
Thanks, Chief.
You got it, boss. My number 3 is Hi-Fi Rush, which is surprising that it's on this list considering it came out in like the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
It's the second best character action game I've ever played. Right underneath Devil May Cry 5. Hi-Fi Rush 2 will be the best character action game of all time if it ever comes out. There's no doubt in my mind. Visuals, music, gameplay. This is their first action game. Their first rhythm action game. And they fucking crushed it with literally everything that goes into it.
There's no reason this game should be good. It's kind of like the old thing where people used to talk about how, like, Deus Ex Human Revolution wasn't supposed to be good. There's no universe where Deus Ex Human Revolution was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came out and it's like, oh, hey, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It shouldn't be, but here we are.
For very similar reasons, my number 2 is Alan Wake 2.
Right.
Because I enjoyed Alan Wake 1 a lot. I really did like it. It was a enjoyable, exciting little horror adventure thing. And Alan Wake 2 is such a dramatic step up in every single aspect.
Yeah, that's correct.
That it is above and beyond what makes a video game.
Mm-hmm.
I am having so much fun streaming it that we might just keep streaming the New Game Plus just because I want to play more Alan Wake 2.
Honestly, yeah. You know, we talked about doing Control.
At this point,
but...
it's probably a little late to start Control UARI.
Yeah.
But you could do Alan Wake 2 New Game Plus UARI.
Yeah. Jan New Game Plus UARI.
Ooh.
Scratchuary.
Yeah. And number 1, of course, come on, it's me.
It's Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, I got to play Spider-Man 2 when I was Spider-Man, and I got to be the other Spider-Man 2, and I got to be with them. And Venom was there, and he was really, really cool, and he was very big, and you get to play as Venom for a little bit, and he's big, and he punches a lot of guys, and he eats guys. And Kraven is really cool, and he wants to kill Spider-Man, and he's very strong and powerful, and you fight him, and he's very scary. And Carnage is there, and Norman Osborn is there, and he's going to become the Green Goblin in the next one.
Ben's delivery sounds exactly like you're doing a Crotty robot bit.
When Ben gets to do the bit of, like, annoying little brother, it is genuinely, like, the most charming thing in the world.
Just the guy who loves fucking Spider-Man. I get it, dude.
This is me talking about Dragon Ball when I was, like, 11.
Yeah. it's and the Mary Jane missions are actually good in this game, and it's really fun. And there is a bit where you get your little spider bot, like your little spying robot guy, and you get to infiltrate a musical history museum, right? Mm-hmm. And you're crawling around, you're trying to sneak past guys, and you can walk on the xylophone, and it plays the notes as you're walking on it. And that's when I was like, oh, 10 out of 10.
Oh, we get to recreate big.
10 out of 10. This is great. This is perfect. Insomniac is doing things with the PS5 that should not be possible. Mm-hmm. They are sorcerers. And I am here to tell you all, Insomniac 2, and Sony especially, hey, Wolverine don't have to look like a PS5 game. It can look like a PS4 game, but if you do that loading shit, that's all we need, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loads instantly. Yeah.
If that's we don't. If you want to put portals in Wolverine, make that shit look like it's on the PS3. I won't give a fuck. Midnight Suns looks like trash. Okay, I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. You look at the models in Midnight Suns, and they look like they're from the fucking PS3, and I don't give a shit. That's fine.
Video games should look worse.
So
you can make them faster.
You can cut that budget down on the visuals, because the real wit, like, I don't care how good the magician's suit is. I'm more focused on how he's making the woman disappear. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's all I care about.
Correct.
Granted, Spider-Man 2 does look amazing. Don't get me wrong; it's a really good-looking game. It doesn't have to, though, because
the only person that actually cares how the magician's suit looks is the guy doing marketing for the magician.
Mm-hmm.
Which you only have to do that once. You take some good screenshots, and then you can make the game look a little bit worse, and it's fine. we know that. That's how games are made.
We had a whole term for that for a while called bullshots, and then people thought it was bad when it's like, nah, just make the game look good for a screenshot, and then if it's a little shitty, who cares?
It's fine, guys. It's okay. It can look a little worse, and then you won't have to, send your employees into the meat grinder and get them fired or get them laid off because you can't afford to triple your budget for the next game.
Yeah, when your budget's already, for Spider-Man 2, allegedly, reportedly, like $330 million.
Mm-hmm.
When I was playing the game, I was more interested in the fact that I was playing fucking Spider-Man 2 than I was like, ooh, that looks pretty. It's okay, it's cool. Right. You don't have to do that anymore. That's all I'm saying. It's a really fucking good game.
Does anyone else have their 5 ready?
I don't have 5, but I've got, because Ben brought up a couple, like Hi-Fi Rush and whatnot. So I'm going to talk about 3.
Okay.
And it's a weird 3, so it's a Sara 3. What do you want from me?
Mm-hmm.
Just to bring it back up again. Number 3 is actually Lost Belt 6. I would actually make it Game of the Year. But it's that good. I'm sorry, it's that good. I can't stop thinking about it. I literally lay awake at night thinking about stuff in Lost Belt 6. I am haunted by it. It is phenomenal. It needs its own video game. If it had its own video game, if it actually had its own like JRPG, like Tales style JRPG, it would be the Game of the Year, right?
Because when they stop doing DLCs for Samram,
God.
They need to keep that relationship up and go, hey, please make us a video game adaptation of Avalon Le-Fay.
Please. I'm serious. Just call it Fate Avalon Le-Fay, right? Like, you don't have to even use the Lost Belt terminology. It doesn't matter. Because it's just this, like, amazing JRPG story that is so, like, reminiscent of stuff like Tales of Symphonia and like we said, we were talking about Breath of the Wild and these, like, stories about, like, what it means to be, like, a hero and not wanting it, and what it means to kind of have the world, like, the weight of the world on your shoulder, and, like, the crushing weight of what everybody wants from you is the thing that unifies, like, all of the major characters, right? Like, it's not just like Altria and the protagonists who are, like, being crushed by this, but it's like Morgan and Barghest and Melusine and Tristan, like, they're all just being smothered by, like, the fact that they don't know how to navigate what people want from them, and, like, and how it's driving them insane. And it's fantastic. It's so good. I hate that it's stuck in a game. I don't hate it. I actually like FGO a lot, obviously. But it's such a shame that this, like, really good fantasy writing is 120 hours deep into a gacha game that is wildly varying in quality, right? It's basically impossible for me to tell, like, a random person that they need to play Lost Belt 6, because getting to Lost Belt 6 is a lot, right?
And much like Shadowbringer and Endwalker, you can't skip anything.
It's all load bearing.
Like, there's a lot of things about Avalon Le-Fay that are standalone, and, like, you could easily adapt it to be standalone. But the Avalon Le-Fay that's there does kind of require you to have that extreme amount of burn-in, knowing the stakes for your main character and your closest friends at the very least, before going into this, their greatest of trials.
Exactly. So, like, it's basically impossible to recommend to anybody. And if you're listening to this episode, you've probably already played it, or you're on your way to playing it, because you're Ben and Oates, and I'm always harassing you to keep playing more FGO.
Yeah, because I don't resent fucking losing my phone twice at all.
I know. I'm sorry, but like it's a good video game and it's great. Fucking Lost Belt 6 is good. What do you want from me?
Mm-hmm.
I just want everybody to play it. And
you're not getting it. This video game's made out of duct tape and prayer.
They can't afford us. They can't even make a story skip work. The point is, I will play your account of FGO to get you to Lost Belt 6 so you will play Lost Belt 6. That is where I am in my life. Number 2 is Umineko Nanaku Koroni for basically the exact same reasons.
Yeah! I'm so excited that it made it all the way to number 2, and we still have 2 episodes left to go.
I still have 2 episodes left to go, and like, there's a chance, there's a chance that it will let me down tremendously. But everything I have read of Umineko up to this point, I fucking love. I think it's great. It's another one of those, like, I can't stop thinking about it video games, right? Because it's just like, it's not even a video game, it's just a book. Unfortunately, 2 out of 3 of these things are just books. But
a book can be a video game.
A book can be a video game. We have a genre for it.
It's fine. I love this thing. I love it. I think it's so good. I'm captivated by the music and the characters and whatever the fuck is going on in the plot, and like just the ways that Umineko navigates giving you the seed of like its plot and then letting it just kind of explode outward from there. There are 19 people on this island. There are 18 people on this island. There are 17 people on this island. There are 50-something characters in this story. How? I don't know. But they're all good. I like all of them, even Erica somehow at the end of it all.
Because she's a Zenos, as we've established.
Insane. Yeah, exactly. She's insane, and she's got so many compelling problems. I don't like her, but I like her. It's complicated. I love Umineko. I think it's really good. It has made me weep openly, like, multiple times in front of my computer at 2 a.m. because I can't put it down. It's also made me scream at my computer at 2 a.m. because what the fuck do you mean there are only 17 people on this island? It's the game that has made me feel the most like I'm standing in front of the cork board with red string and just insisting that Pepe Silva is real. Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's another video game that is basically impossible to recommend. But it's a little bit easier.
I think for me it's mostly impossible to recommend, not because it's hard to get into, but because don't fuck with 13 Sentinels fans. We can't talk about our video game.
I can't tell you anything about the video game. And also it's 120 hours of reading, so have fun.
You finished episode 6. There are still content and genre tags that I would be spoiling if I told you what they were.
Fantastic. Great. I love it. Umineko is good. Please play. Now I'm going to become one of those people who are like, you need to play.
Hey!
I have become one of those. Number 1 is Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is fucking fantastic from start to finish. It's a little janky. It has a fucked up camera and some systems that I don't think work very well, and a lot of weird crust. But I like that crust. I think that crust is good because what that crust is attached to is just one of the most like interesting, visually striking video games I have ever seen. They're doing so much with like what they've learned from Control and pushing it even harder with like these incredible shot compositions and aesthetics and just the weird haunted nature of the world and wearing everything on its sleeve without even a crumb of irony. It takes itself totally seriously. It never makes fun of itself, even when it's having a lot of fun and there's literally a musical number in the middle of it. I really like it. It's a big budget horror game in 2023 that shouldn't exist. And it is like an actual horror game. It is genuinely trying be a frightening video game.
There's
gotten
a bit
me several times.
There's a bit in it where you have a boss fight and someone over the radio tells you have to activate these 3 cubes to do the boss mechanic. And instead of going, oh, are you fucking kidding me? You go, oh shit.
Oh fuck, how do I stop this guy so I can turn on the cubes?
It's fantastic. It's great. It has an amazing soundtrack. It's mostly licensed music, and the only reason I didn't insist on putting it on the list is that I think Hi-Fi Rush still has a better soundtrack. But Alan Wake 2 has a great soundtrack, and it's just made with so much. I was watching because my YouTube autoplay took me to the Game Awards, performance of Herald of Darkness, right? Mm-hmm. And like Sam Lake is having so much fun. And you realize it's because, like, oh shit, we're here. We did it. We somehow got a chance to make, like, the video game we always wanted to make. And it's this weird, like, dreamlike horror of musical performances and incredible kind of weird world layering tech. And it's all about stories and how stories affect us. And how we affect stories, and how it's a loop, right? Like, everything feeds back into each other. And I think it's fantastic. I love it. Alan Wake 2 is the best game of the year, hands down.
It's genuinely so cool to finally get a Twin Peaks video game that is specifically based on Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Listen, I am unashamedly saying that if it were not Spider-Man, Alan Wake 2 would be my game of the year.
Absolutely.
But it's Spider-Man.
Side note, haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, waiting for that to get patched. I'm sure it absolutely deserved to win it at the Game Awards. I'm not saying that Alan Wake 2 deserved to beat it. I just hadn't had a chance to play it yet, because like I'm waiting for that game to be finished first, because it's not finished yet.
The 4 of us have played, on average, 11 minutes per person of Baldur's Gate 3. And 100% of that collective of 50 minutes was today, an hour or two before recording. So, unfortunately, we are going to be snubbing Baldur's Gate 3 because literally no one here has like any experience with it.
Listen, the Game Awards gave it enough awards. We don't need to give it any more.
Please look forward to us talking about Baldur's Gate 3 at the end of next year. Or I guess this year. At the end of 2024. So, it's Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is like the only actual video game on this list of video games of the year, but it's fine. It's great. Please play it. Please go buy it, because like I really don't want it to flop. I want Remedy to keep making this shit. There. That's my piece.
Oates?
I think I got my list set up. So, starting at number 5, I ended up finishing myhouse.wad without you guys.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice.
Did you know every time you go to a new map, it's the same layout as your house?
What?
Every time you go to a new location, it's always the same set of rooms.
Ooh, that's fun.
Oh.
It's always the same one?
It's always like the same 7 rooms and about the same layout.
Yeah.
Wow.
That game is fantastic. And the ending of it leaves me kind of like in a weird, like, ethereal state where I kind of like had to sit down and like think about everything that I had to deal with in order to get to that point. What a fucking game! Like,
what a game!
To exist the way that it did, and then drive me further insane by having me like, oh well, let me look at like inside of the files, because they have like a cute little like dev notes on it, and the dev notes turned into journals, and it started like reading like House of Leaves because there were like hyperlinks inside of it that led to new place. It was crazy. That game is a game.
That game might be like, obviously there's still time, and that thing has been around for a while. That myhouse.wad might just be genuinely the peak of GZ Doom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, it's hard to imagine how you could technically triumph that without like making GZ Doom something beyond what it already is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never thought that like a Doom mod would make me feel like, I don't know, like I'm actually playing like a thought-provoking video game in the same way Alan Wake 2 would. But it did. So like it's stuck there, and like I don't talk about it very much, but that one was kind of like stuck in my head for a bit. Number 4 is Umineko. For much the same reasons as Sara. I need to finish it at some point, but that's not going to happen for a while. But do know that I've been like champing at the bit ever since I realized I think I figured out the riddle to the golden epitaph.
Yeah.
And then there's Tears of the Kingdom in number 3, because like...
Oh god, yeah.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Like, I want it to be higher up, but Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of problems that, like, at the end of the day, made me not want to replay it again.
Sure.
It didn't have the same staying power that I thought Breath of the Wild would give me, you know? Like, sure, I explored almost everything, but I don't want to reach it to completion.
Sure.
It's one of those, like, I'm not normally the kind of person to do it, but like, you ever have like one of those video games where you're like, I am like 90% done. I might as well be done. I'm going to end it here before I finish it, so I don't have to have that conclusion. That's kind of where I'm at with Tears of the Kingdom, which like shouldn't happen to a game like Tears of the Kingdom. But here we are.
I think a lot about. I think I specifically heard this observation from a former Fanbyte EIC, Merritt K. But how weird it is that in the last couple of years, how many games there are where the relationship to it is that it's kind of expected that you will see credits and then just hit a point at some point where you're not done with the game, but you have completely burnt out of the game. Instead of like getting to a point where like, yeah, I've done it, and then being done. Right?
And
that TOTK definitely, I get that significantly for that game.
Beautiful game. Wonderful things. I wish I had more Ganondorf.
I wish a little bit more, maybe.
A little more. Number 2 is Fallout 76.
Yeah!
Because once again, I have discovered, or rather, forced everyone else around me to discover, playing games socially is the best thing that you can do with video games. I have a lot of fun playing it just for the sake of having something to do as an excuse to have Discord calls with people. And I don't think anything else that's bad about it can detract from the power of being able to just being able to interact with folks like Sara and Ben and Zatter. Which leads me to 2 years in a row, Warframe winning Game of the Year for me.
Yippee! Wahoo!
Hey, it's Warframe!
Warframe has unfortunately made so many massive game, like, quality of life changes and updates and things to do and reduction in systems that you need to grind out for, that I'm having an enormous amount of fun just kind of making cute little wish lists and then just kind of piddling at them while talking to you guys, even if I'm not actually playing with you. And I can't wait for one day for that brainworm to infect you too.
Yay!
They did an update where one of it is like a new player experience that also has a completely bespoke roguelike game mode in it. And then later they did an update where Liquid Ocelot and Naked Snake tell them to say that they love each other.
Yeah, it's great.
Perfect. That's fair. That's Game of the Year.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with. I mean, I guess do you have anything else you want to say about Warframe, or?
Once again, it'll happen to you.
Okay. This will not take as long as it's going to sound like it is. I have 5 and then 2 honorable mentions. The honorable mentions will be done very quickly. First honorable mention goes to Fallout 76. for the aforementioned reasons of, man, I spent like 300 hours this year just playing that game with you freaks and like joking and jocking, and like there's no other video game that lets me dress as a horrifying robot cat boy with glowing red teeth eyes that just stalks around and scares the fuck out of people and jump scares them in cutscenes. And my second honorable mention goes to Tears of the Kingdom. Because I think even at the end of the year, I don't really have that much interesting to say about it in reflection to my actual top 5. But it is the game that gave me the most emergent problem-solving itch. Mm-hmm. Of just like finding weird, bespoke, unscripted solutions to the things in the game. Where it's like, I'm so used to having to play a game like Prey 2017 to scratch that itch, and there's just so few of those nowadays. Mm-hmm. So anything that gives me that option is it gets points in my book. Okay,
I just want to say real quick, it's shocking. Yeah. It's a testament to how good this year is that Tears of the Kingdom did not make any of our top 5 lists, or only made one of our top 5 lists.
Yeah, because it is in a lot of ways a great game, even if it doesn't have the same staying power as Breath of the Wild. But it's just like there's a lot of things that made us feel more. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, my number 5 is Lost Belt 6.
Yeah!
For largely the reasons described, it's like a phenomenal piece of writing, one of the best pieces of writing in Fate franchise that I've experienced. A great 40-hour JRPG trapped inside of an extremely long gacha game with incredible characters, and like the way that the setting and themes all blend together is like just really masterful. There's basically nothing to complain about, and also it has some of the best emotional hits in that entire fucking video game. Mm-hmm. It's frankly crazy. Also, there is a part of it specifically with a character that, ironically enough, it's one of the things about it that only works in the gacha form. It being a gacha gives it a weird epilogue for if you pull a specific character that like adds a fucking texture to the interactions with that character, which I think is really neat. Number 4 on a similar front is going to be Limbus Company, a game which I think morally doesn't deserve it. However, that game was ludicrously fun. It's maybe my favorite experience I've ever had with a gacha, which is why I am so sad that I have to stop playing it. That's really all I'm going to say about it. Number 3 is Phantom Liberty. I did not think it was possible for them to take Cyberpunk 2077 and make it good. Not only did they update that game to be good, they presented a DLC campaign, the likes of Far Harbor, which narrows down on the stuff about that game they think is important, and single-handedly made me interested in a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. A thing which I did not think was possible.
Correct.
It's a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game. As Oates mentioned, the only Idris Elba I've ever hated. That dude's character is frankly insane. He would, honestly, if not for the fact that I don't feel particularly passionate about him, I would have put him in Blorbo. Because he's a guy who I want to put in a snow globe and shake it around.
Correct.
Derogatory.
He is actually very like Odo now that I think about it. Anyway.
Oh! I'm paying attention.
He's Odo core.
He is very Odo core.
Okay.
My number 2 is going to be Fate Samurai Remnant, which I am frankly surprised is number 2. I say that even having played it, thinking it's an okay, like, low B-tier action game, right? However, I think the story is really effective, and this feels weird for me to say, being the person who's like the big stand for Gudako, and like the edgy psychopathic Gudako headcanons and whatever. I think Iori might be literally my favorite Fate protagonist.
Okay.
That's big. Wow.
And I can't talk about why, because it's like extremely late thing, and like I feel like saying it would ruin it, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who have played it, or will eventually get to see all 3 endings, you will understand my insanity, the depths of my depravity. And number 1 is Armored Core 6.
Yeah. All right.
For one, it's the triumphant return of a beloved FromSoft franchise that has been absent for nearly a decade at this point. It's a great action game. I had a little bit of spottiness with it at the beginning, but they have like buttoned up everything so that the difficulty pacing's a little more even, and weapons are a little more balanced, yada yada yada. It has great customizable like mech system. It has tons of characters who are all cool, and a story that's a little confusing but still always interesting. Actually, the other thing that made me nominate it for Best Starfield, aside from Starfield, is it's a game that you do have to play 3 different times, but you actually are interested in doing that. Because it has two major plot routes that you can do, and then a third one that only opens on your third playthrough that completely turns the game on its head. It's great.
Hell yeah.
Also, it has Zenos of the Year in it.
Mm-hmm.
It has my ghost wife Air. It has a bunch of weirdos with funny voices. It has some voice claims and some personality claims for other characters who are Blorbos in our extended universe. And a testament to the quality of its writing and its story is that I finished all of it before starting Starfield and literally spent the entire time playing Starfield thinking about Armored Core 6 instead.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's really the ultimate thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The takeaway of this year's Game of the Year talk is, what is the game you can't stop thinking about? Because that's the one that's going to make you the most insane and your Game of the Year.
What is the game that you were thinking about while Starfield was busy letting you down?
That's correct. It was Umi Neko, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, and I'm sure while Ben was suffering through Starfield, he was like, I'm so excited for Spider-Man 2 coming out in a few months.
Yeah, it was just thinking, I wish I was playing other games.
It was me sitting by myself because I didn't play Starfield, because I also was just like, I was just going to let you guys be the canary in the coal mine, and I was just playing Warframe and going like, I miss my friends.
Yeah, instead of playing Starfield, you just played more of Warframe, your game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And you made the smarter choice.
That's right.
Now you will have to join me.
That's right.
That's how that works.
That's how that works, isn't it? I think.
One fear.
Well, we did it.
I think that about covers everything.
My God, it only took honestly 3 hours. Not that bad for the Game of the Year discussion. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah,
we didn't even have to use our panic button.
That's right, the hurry it up button.
Which, let's get one more in there.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't imagine we'd have a whole lot of uses for that on the actual Discord soundboard, so we may as well use it while we got it.
That's right. That's it. It was actually an extremely good game for years. I'm sorry I didn't get it. Wait, the other way around.
Yeah,
Shit.
year for games.
Year for games. I said game for years. It has been a good game. Years for games. Fuck it. I'm tired. And I'm sorry I didn't get around to Baldur's Gate 3, but like I said, please look forward to it being my game of the year 2024.
Well, listen. 2024 is admittedly pretty front-loaded, but it kind of feels like some smooth sailing after about April.
Yeah, I had left in our Blorbo list for icons for the server. I had left April open because I looked in the April releases. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll just put something here that comes out in March that we end up retroactively realizing is cool.
That honestly sounds like about right.
Before we put Brick the Rat in, of course.
Yes. That's right. For Ben's birthday, yeah, of course.
Yeah. We're gonna have to put fucking Odo on that icon. I'm gonna have to see that slime ball's ugly mug for the rest of the fucking month.
You know what? That's how we should end it. Fuck Odo.
No! My Blorbo! You can't be mean to him! Star
You
Trek
can't
is
fuck
over.
my Blorbo? Wait a minute.
Listen, Rick Berman is mean enough to him. You have to be nice to my horrible fascist Blorbo, alright? It's fine. Listen. Please watch Star Trek. That's the takeaway from this. This Game of the Year discussion.
You know what? I have a compromise, Oates. Fuck Idris Elba's character in Phantom Liberty.
Yeah. Fuck Solomon Reed. That guy's a prick.
I hate that man.
That guy's a real piece of work.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night.